All right, it's 9 o'clock. We're going to go ahead and get started. If everybody will go ahead and find your seats. All right. Thank you for coming. I imagine you guys love talking finances, so we are here today for the budget and so many other things. All right, so we're going to get started with a call to order, of course. We are in order. Pledge of Allegiance will be the beginning. Then we'll have a roll call, and we'll get started with business. Okay? If everyone will please rise, face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Roll call. Mr. Bramlett.
Here.
Mr. Campbell.
Present.
Mrs. Nelson.
Present.
All right. Mrs. Myers is absent. I am here. Mrs. Ramlow.
I'm here.
Mrs. Benefield.
Here.
Mr. Reagan.
Here.
Mrs. Ebbets.
Here.
All right. We have a quorum, so we have enough to move on. All right. Now, I assume everyone on the board were able to receive a copy of the previous minutes, or the previous meeting's minutes. Are there any changes, anything that we'd like to say? Everybody good with the minutes as
Yes.
presented?
Yes.
All right, do I have a motion to accept the minutes as presented?
I present a motion to accept them as
Do we have a
presented.
second? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
I'll abstain. I wasn't here.
Got it. Thank you, Mr. Bramlett. One abstaining, the rest are ayes. Okay. Now, let's move on. All right. We're going to begin with open to the public. Now, here's the thing. Everybody, I know that there are many of you that are repeat guests, so you know how we run things around here. But some of you may be new. I just want to say this. First thing, everybody's going to get you 3 minutes. I'll make sure you get your 3 minutes. I'll make sure that you'll be able to speak. Please use decorum. Everything is to be addressed to the chair alone. That is me. If you were not aware, I'm the chair. So address everything to me and me alone. Please do not address anybody on library staff. Do not address anyone from the public. And please do not address any of the other board members. Address the chair. Next, absolute zero public interaction with the person speaking. When the person is speaking, the public is to remain silent. That means no applause, no cheers, no boos, none of that. Okay? If you do, I'll ask you to be removed. Okay? I'll ask you to remove yourself first. Then we'll escalate if we have to. So just make sure you keep it to yourself. Everybody will have an opportunity to speak if you want to speak. That's what we're here for. We believe in that right to do so. And the other little house cleaning item on that is there is a green card over here. You must fill that out. Hand that to Taylor. She'll take that for you. You can give that to her after you're done speaking. It's fine. Just make sure you fill it out. When you step up to the podium, start with your name and where you are from. Okay? Your name and where you are from. This is public. This is a public speaking, public input moment. So you have to say your name and where you are from. And then after that, you'll get your 3 minutes. All right? Everybody good? All right, so with that being said, we'll open to public. Don't all rush at the same time.
All right. Over there. She's over there.
Yes. This is Taylor right here, by the way. Yep.
Hi. Let me get down a little bit. Hi, my name is, it's actually Jennifer Caitlin Rivers, but I go by Caitlin Rivers, and I am from Inverness, Florida. Thank you for your time. I stand before you once again because of the stale argument that there is content within our public libraries that a very vocal minority deems inappropriate. Their recycled claims that LGBTQ and witchcraft text in any form creates an unsafe environment for people under age 18 and that it is not supported by the community. This time, DEI has been added to the list of offenses. The questionable material is a monthly national paper and digital short magazine that is nothing more than a review of newly published, well-received books broken into various categories. This magazine is titled Book Page, and it has been published for more than 30 years. It is currently utilized by more than 3,500 public library systems to help readers locate new books of interest to them. It is free to patrons, but it does cost the library system annually. It is well utilized and highly regarded. I love the insight it brings, and it helps me discover new writers that I would otherwise not know about. It is far more concise than looking over every book sleeve in the library, and the digital form is excellent when I am unable to make it to print books, as I can utilize Libby. Because Book Page is solely short reviews of books, there is no explicit content. Over the course of the year, a book by an LGBTQ theme or character might exist, and yes, there are books that have witches. There was an October-themed one last year with witches in some books. Youths and adults are entitled to have books with a witch theme without it having some dark hole towards some sinister existence. These same people oppose Halloween in the Citrus County being publicly enjoyed at all. My point is, it is incredible extremism. The reviews are a couple of paragraphs and serve many, many people in the public. These people are attempting to use this excuse to reduce the library budget. There is currently a county, this is a county with 175,000 people as of 2025. The library system serves 175,000 people. The extreme minority should not be allowed to discourage or persuade level-headed content. My tax dollars support the library system that I frequent. I suspect this minority is not even utilizing the library system, but if they are, they certainly can walk past a free magazine to get to the parts they want to engage in. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Rhonda Warwick from near Floral City. And I just wanted to say that I have had my hands on this magazine called Book Page, and it is in the library for whoever to pick it up. You don't even have to check it out. There are probably a couple hundred books in there advertised. I guess that's where they order more books, for the library. But I did see there's quite a few different books that involve the lesbian, gay, transvestite, queer agenda. And also there was witchcraft books. And I did not see any conservative books at all. But these are, I guess they call woke. And yeah, there's the DEI and critical race theory also promoted in that. And I know my favorite book, the Word of God in Romans, talks about how those who reject God and his ways, they turn, and God gives them over to a debased, or other words, perverted mind, the women giving up the natural purpose of themselves to be with women, men with men, burning in their flesh in lust with one another. Romans chapter 1 talks about that. So I stand on God's word, and it guides and leads me, but we don't want immoral and this perversion to be spread more in our county. As a concerned taxpayer and seeing what's going on in our world now, we have to push back the darkness. We have to stand up for these next generations so that at least they have a chance to live a more holy, righteous life if they want to, they choose to. And it's really important that you, as the gatekeepers here, shut this out. And I know that it's a big concern because of the cost. I guess they put in many of those magazines to give out in each. So if I don't know the exact figure right now. I'm sure it can come up here in a few minutes, but I just pray that you will, and encourage you to stop Book-Page magazine. It's a cost that we can live without here and do better in our county without. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Good morning. Pete Horner from Inverness. Okay, everybody seems to know what Book-Page is, so I'll skip that. The problem with Book-Page is much like the fake media we've seen over the past 20 years. A dangerous and liberal agenda is being pushed by this magazine that's supplied to our libraries in large numbers for distribution. Some examples of their bias is an overwhelming number of books dealing with LGBTQ. A few examples taken from the July and August magazines I have here. Hot Girls with Balls, 2 trans men playing volleyball and in a relationship. At least they weren't playing against women. Scarlet Morning, exploration of queer identity. Another area where they seem to be very heavy is in murders and murder mysteries. This one I found particularly disturbing. What the Night Brings. There's a note with a box of donuts sent to the local police department. The donuts were laced with arsenic. Does that sound anything like the defund the police movement? Too old for this. A septuagenarian decides to return to his younger days as a serial killer once again. I guess you're never too old to drop bad habits, huh? Magic and witchcraft are also a popular subject. When I was a teenager, I got a Ouija board. One night, a friend and I were kind of playing around with it, and some really weird stuff happened. I got rid of that board the next day. I don't believe in witchcraft. And now I'm a Christian, I even believe less in it. Examples of books. A Resistance of Witches. Witches in World War II, Great Britain, emerging to save England from the Nazis. I find this particularly ironic considering that Hitler himself believed heavily in the occult. A Conjuring in America, mermaids, medicine, and 400 years of black women's magic. And here's the key star, the one that makes me scratch my head. Son of the Morning. This is a real, the love story between Galilee, a southern black woman, and Lucifer. Yes, that Lucifer. Money should not be spent on this liberal agenda-driven publication.
Thank you, sir. Your time has expired. Thank you.
Good morning. Joe Papp, Crystal River, been here for almost 21 years. I mean, I'm not going to rehash what the last couple people said, but first, I don't see why we're spending $3,300 on something that has material that, I mean, the whole woke agenda, the CRT agenda, all that has been proven a failure over the last year. And if you look it up, if you do some research, you'll find out what I'm saying is exactly true. So I don't understand why we put stuff like this in our libraries that kids can read. I don't even think our libraries should be full with this. This thing is free online. If somebody wants it, go online and look. Second of all, you know, the $3,300, let's face it, we're growing so fast in this county. Every single penny that we can save, we should be trying to save. And I really don't have a whole lot to say, so you're spared. I didn't have enough time to write down a whole dissertation, but those are the two things that I feel are the worst things. And you know what, honestly, there have been other things like this that have escaped the careful, watchful eyes of the whole board. And it's been put in a separate section I don't know if that's going to be enforced, but it's wrong. All those, I mean, you can get any book you want paperback online for under $10. So if somebody wants it, buy it. Go to Amazon, like I do. So anyway, thank you so much for listening to me. You guys have a blessed day.
Good morning. My name is Ray Brown. I'm here from Homosassa, Florida. And I want to thank the board first for being here. Understand that this is not a very comfortable place, being in front of the, opposition or, us. So I come here because I'm opposed of spending $3,300 on this book thing. I'm sorry. So I ask you, why are you all in this community? Is it that you're trying to change this community, this retirement community, into something that we're not? People come here because most of us are retired individuals. We have
Excuse
a
me.
belief.
Address the chair.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
If I look around, I'm not doing anything for it. So I'd like that time back. So what I'm asking is that, why are you all here? Is it to change this community? Is it to say, no, we don't like it the way it was, and now we want to force these witches? What are you all thinking? Why would you have such evil stuff in your books? Sir, being that you're the chair, today I decide I want to be a man. I wear a wig, and then I want to go into the women's bathroom, and I want to go into your wife's bathroom and stand there and stand up and pee. And I want to ask you, are you okay with that? Are any of you all good with you women, men, going into your bathrooms and watching you pee? I mean, I don't want that for my wife. My grandkids, nowhere should they be have to face that type of behavior. Now, grant you want to do that in your house. Let's face it, times are changing. But this is a community of retired individuals who we came here because we love the way that this community is with adults. Can we bring the adults back in? Can we look at it and say, you know what, we may have to change the things that we believe and go back to the community, go back to the people that you represent. And most of us are retired. I do want to thank the board for being here. I really do. And so thank you very much for hearing us out.
I will say, ma'am, I know you came in late. No public comment. No, you on second row. No public comment while someone's speaking, okay? We don't allow that. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Chuck Hutterly from Inverness. And I'm seeking tax relief, property relief. As a gentleman before said that book page you could get here, cancel the book page and roll back your budget. It's inflated. It's $1 million more than last year. You never did spend it all. And we're a limited income. Roll it back. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Next.
Oh, Holy Spirit, we hope you're in this place. My name's Lala Sanders from Inverness. I would like to find out if any publishers are overcharging the library to house their books. Just like right now, Florida is suing 2 textbook publishers, McGraw-Hill and Savage Learning, following a whistleblower complaint that revealed the state was being overcharged by millions of dollars, according to the officials. The press release said complaint is seeking treble damages and civil penalties to prevent future violations. The Citrus County Library System is spending the money and our tax dollars every year on subscriptions to the book page, a very woke monthly magazine, and of course you have all heard that already. We're not going to be like the media that gets a memo and everybody hears it every day. So you've heard it, and that's how I feel that you need to cancel that subscription. And also, with so many things that that you can look up online, the budgets proposed can be trimmed. And as I have said before, I'm forced to read these books to see if they are proper for young kids to read. Please get back to what God wants us to do, and that's to protect our kids. I will repeat what another person at our last meeting said. I don't know why you allow and listen to people on the other side that come and they say the same thing. So I'm just repeating what was said last time. After the last meeting, as I was walking outside, I overheard two from the left tell a member from this board, "You are our saving grace." And the response from that member was, "I got your back." A board member which was nominated should be open to both sides and don't get caught talking about it. And I'm just strictly against a lot of the things that are going on right now, and it's ruining our children. And as far as this book, I believe it's more the adults are the ones that are reading it. It's for their pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next.
My name is Ray Kolofsky. I live in the county of Inverness, and I'm totally against this book page. I read some of the stuff that's in here. It's really literary fentanyl for the weak-minded and for children. That's what I call it, literary fentanyl. You know what fentanyl does? It comes in the form of candy. The kids, they take it. This stuff, DEI, Pride, Rainbow, the kids, oh, that's beautiful. There's no such thing as transgender. It was a word that was made up by far-left activists, Marxists, people that don't love this country. You could dress as a woman, fine. A woman could dress as a man, fine. But there's still a man and a woman. And anybody that thinks otherwise, they've got a problem. This is, I'll tell you, for my money to go for something like this, I don't care if it was $1, but this is ridiculous. This book belongs into one of those places where you see pornographic, and you might want to do some self-gratification. But anyway, it's really hilarious to have. We have a person on the Supreme Court, Ketanji Jackson, who couldn't even say what a woman was. She said, "Oh, that's not my purview. I'm not a biologist." These are the people that are running the country, and these are people that are getting into our local politics. We have to put an end. This is MAGA country now. We've got more registered Republicans in this country than Democrats. Take that. Be sensible. Have common sense. Don't be stupid. You know, these Democrats are doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. That is a sign of insanity. These are nice people. Wonderful. Chairman, intelligent guy, do what these smart people that were up before me do. Thank you for your attention.
Sir, just a reminder in the audience, no comment while someone's speaking up here. Treat this as a library.
Hello, Chairman. My name is Cassidy Fuel, and I live in Homosassa. And I'm going to start with a quote. "And they made their father drink wine that night. And the firstborn went in and lay with her father. And he perceived not when she lay down, nor when she arose. And it came to pass on the morrow that the firstborn said unto the younger, Behold, I lay yesternight with my father. Let us make him drink wine this night also. And go thou in and lie with him, that we may preserve seed of our father. And they made their father drink wine that night also. And the younger arose and lay with him. And he perceived not when she lay down, nor when she arose. Thus were both the daughters of Lot with child by their father." Bible, Genesis 19:33-36. The Bible is full of incest, violence, rape, crime of all sorts. And yet I hear people saying things about books that are widely available that may be targeted for the LGBTQ community, but the hypocrisy is ripe here. Bottom line is, this is the United States of America. We stand for free speech. We stand not for censorship, but for the availability of information for all people. This is not a community of just a certain sect of people, a certain religion. This is a community of many people from all walks of life. And it is not right, nor is it fair to restrict information based on one religion or based on one group of people who have a certain sense of morality. Sorry, I'm a very nervous public speaker. I'm a writer, so I'm not used to talking, I'm used to writing. If I walk into a restaurant and I see something on the menu that I don't like, I don't rush into the restaurant and demand that they stop serving what's on the menu for everybody else. I simply move on and I order something else. It is not right to restrict information to other people from it's just a book review. It just gives excerpts. It just gives examples of something that you could read. But what I'm hearing is a lot of argument involving bigotry, hatred, and purely deception. Because, I'm hearing transphobic arguments, I'm hearing anti-gay arguments, homophobic arguments, and all it's doing is obfuscating the fact that this is about free speech. This is about libraries being a bastion of freedom, of knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Hi, I'm Suzanne Stevenson. I'm from Hernando. Wow, lot to process. First of all, I'd like to say that I'm coming here from a place of love. People that love each other encourage other people to make wise, good, godly decisions. They don't want to see people make decisions that could negatively damage their life or their family's lives or children's lives. I don't hate any of the aforementioned people. I love them. Some are my very good friends that know I love them, even though I differ with their lifestyle. So I'm not coming here from a place of prejudice or hate. But I am coming here from two places, one from love and one from fiscal responsibility. As was before said, this is a free publication, as is the Christian Booksellers magazine, which I don't believe I've seen in any of the libraries here. So if you're going to have one Booksellers magazine, why don't you have another Booksellers magazine? But back to my original point. I don't believe this is something particularly that we need to spend our money on when they can get it online. And most of these people are educated people, and they're savvy people, and they know how to find their information online. So if it's in the public library, it's trying to make that available to people that don't know anything about it and don't really want to know anything about it, and possibly children and people that are easily swayed. So I would ask you to not spend our taxpayer dollars on something that you don't even put the opposing viewpoint for in the library. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Hi, good morning. I'm Gil Phelan. I'm from Lecanto. Yeah, it's obvious that the fight is still here, right? Even though we have so much good stuff going on, we still have this very strange mindset infecting us. You know, I have a little bit of a library at home, and I recommend to some of my friends different books that I've read and I like Democracy in America, really cool book about 50 years after we were formed, what our country was like and why it was so great. Unbroken. I mean, that was a movie about a guy in a Japanese war camp. But the thing is, they made the movie, but they forgot the most important thing about it. You won't see it in the movie. It's that he had PTSD, and he was a drunk, and he had nightmares when he came home. And he was healed by going to Billy Graham crusades, and he ended up being 90-some years old, living a wonderful life. But the woke Hollywood and the woke culture didn't want to talk about that Billy Graham stuff, right? And here we've got this book page thing. Like I said, I like to recommend books, and that's what this book page is doing. So Gazians, it's a Pride Month, it's a celebration of love. Really? I think it's a celebration of perversion and mental illness. So it's about drag queens and lonely stoner gamers, you know, typical people that we like to put up there as a great example. I don't understand why women put up with this stuff either today. It just boggles my mind. And we already mentioned everybody's favorite, the hot girls with balls. That's something that, you know, we really should have in our library. And what about, let's not forget, Girls Who Grew Big. That's about teenagers, unwed teenagers, who get sent away to come home baby free. That's nice, isn't it? And of course, they suffer from racism, restricted abortion access, and homophobia. You know, all the woke whining points. I'm just really, I'm not too tired to fight. I'm going to continue to fight. But I really would like to see our money being spent. This freedom of speech and all that, everything's out there. We're talking about what our tax money is being used for. That's our argument. Don't spend our money on this garbage. I mean, this is just, you go through this book and who is running the library? I know who's running it. I wish we'd fire all the people who are in charge right now because they've shown they're incompetent and their woke idealism is running the show. So I think it's time to just get some new leadership. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
How you doing, folks? I'm Bud Hurley. I'm from Beverly Hills. And I think I'd like to turn things around a little bit. I don't think you guys should be fired. I think you're doing a pretty good job. We've got a great library system here in Crystal River, in Citrus County. It's well-run, it's dynamic, it's educational, and it's a service to our community. To achieve this, we have roughly 500 people involved in running this library. Most of them are unpaid volunteers who do it because they love the library, they love the people involved with it, they love to educate. They donate their time. The paid staff, I may be wrong in this, but I believe to be called a librarian, you have to have a degree in library sciences. These people know what they're doing, okay? And they should be paid attention to. Statistics prove this out. The attendance in our youth programs has gone up 66%. New card holders have gone up 36%. Circulation is up 17%. Program attendance is up 26%. Over 258,000 people walked through the door of the library in the last couple of years. The library itself is pleasant, it's comfortable, it's free, which is very important to people on a tight budget. It needs to be protected. You can get classes in the library on languages, on computers, on your iPhones, smartphones. You can learn to play the ukulele, you can learn to plant a garden. There's all kinds of stuff going there. Its value is just incalculable. You can get one-on-one help with your electronics. As usual, we have a minute special interest group with a perpetual burr under their saddle. It's always under there, moves around a little bit, but they're always here, they're always complaining about something. This time it's about naked crayons. Am I right on that? I don't believe that. The Citrus County people were unhappy with the library. The numbers I stated would be going down, not up. You're doing a good job. Please stay doing what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good morning. My name is Dean Bales. I live in Homosassa, Florida, and I dug through this and I try to give it the benefit of the doubt because you can't always tell what the context of a book is, and sometimes they kind of bend the information a little bit when they give a review of it. But there indeed is some heavy LGBT propaganda in it, far more beyond than what you'd think of the general population's percentage of that. But there's an ideology fueling this, you know. So if you was to have a regime change in the people who publish this stuff, probably it would just revert back to something similar again, because it's not fueled by people. It's a like they call it, the mind virus. And I think for once conservatives got a good term that is useful and accurate. So many of them aren't. But here's an example of the rabble-rousing that comes from these books that they're pushing. Keep in mind, this is not liberal, this is not libertarian when they, you know, people come up here and talk about how we shouldn't be censoring, but for them to make room in their book review for a certain book means that they are omitting other books. There's a sneaky, backhanded censorship at work in every case. In what they often select. Unless something already is at the bestseller list, then, you know, hey, why not have a review of it? It's already made the bestseller list. But there's a lot of things here that are obscure books that they're pushing. And in one of these books, or multiple books, they're pushing feminists who are complaining about patriarchy. Well, okay, let's look at who runs this particular publication. You looked at president, it's a woman. Publisher, editor-in-chief, another woman down the line. Managing editor, associate editors, all women. Marketing manager, women. And they get to the bottom, and the founder is a man. There's one contributor, some man, again, a token man that they keep on staff so they can say they're not as discriminatory as we know that they are. But stuff like witchcraft, again, that's a fad. How do you eliminate it? If you have a regime change in this, then, you know, it might just do that again. But the problem with this fun and games witchcraft stuff is that, you know, it starts off as fun and games, kind of like the serial killer John Wayne Gacy. He had a fun and games trick he'd play with a young man to which he would rape and kill and bury under the floorboards of his house. He would have fake, or what he said were fake, handcuffs, and he, you know, just as a game, see if you can get out of it. You know, well, it starts off as a game, and then they get clipped in, they find out, no, it's not a game. Little by little, the truth comes out that some of these things aren't. Here's a real-life events, or some events going on. You notice in these school shooters, quite often you'll find transgenders.
Thank you, Mr. Bales. Your time has expired.
Wow,
next speaker.
Good morning. My name is Mike Lorraine, and I'm from Inverness. I'm here as a father, a grandfather, a great-grandfather, and I just had a great-granddaughter born last May. And for her, I would not want her to walk in to the library and this book that we're talking about. Everybody has their rights. Everybody has free will. And I'm not here to discount anybody for their beliefs or their will or anything else. I know that if I was going in there and I would not pay, if I knew what this book was, I wouldn't pay a dime to buy it. But there's people that like that book, and as a library board, you have to take in everybody's beliefs, and you have to be I've been where you are on city councils and stuff, and it's a very, very hard job. And sometimes you're going to run into someone who says you got the job wrong. Next day you're going to run in and say, good job, you guys are really doing good. And this is our public money, and I don't believe it should be spent to have children reading adult, and it says right in this magazine. I seen it for the first time last week. I've had from then until now to browse through this magazine. I'm very involved in my church, but that means nothing, just that that's my belief. And I would not want my granddaughter, great-granddaughter, daughters, and I'd say sons and everything, but I wasn't blessed to have one. But I have beautiful daughters. They've been in the service. I have 2 daughters that they have life mates. They have wives with wives. And we can sit at a family dinner and have a good family dinner. And I don't love one more or less. I love them all the same. Do I believe in no, that's not my beliefs. But it's not for me to say that it's right or wrong. That will be decided one day. And I would just like to say that I would ask you to see if there could be some changes made in this mag. I know we're not rich, we're not everybody, but if the library itself all got together and maybe just decided a different way of distributing this magazine to where it went to the people that it was intended for. Because if you look at it, there's stuff in there, there's really good stuff.
Thank you, sir.
And
Your
bad.
time has expired.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Evelyn Mejia. I'm going to just go straight to the point. I'm asking that you...
Sorry, can you repeat your name?
Evelyn Mejia. And I just came here today to ask you that you would just suspend the buying this magazine. We can use the money, if you think about it, in other ways that will benefit the public, and also cut down on the purchase of too many books. That's what I have to say.
Okay, where were you from again? I'm sorry.
Floral City.
Thank you.
Good day.
Good day.
Put on my Dollar Tree glasses here. I just basically want to say, please cancel the unnecessary book page.
Name and where you're from.
Oh, I'm sorry. Rick Matherson from Hernando, Florida. Please cancel the unnecessary book page subscription and further cut the library budget by reducing book purchases. Pretty much short and sweet. It's not restricting information to channel the attention of children towards wholesome information and activities. And that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
My name is Edna Bachman. I live in Crystal River, and I want to thank you for this opportunity. I'm an avid book reader. I visit the library a lot. And I remember a number of years ago, I first came upon BookPage, and I was thinking that was a pretty nice idea until I opened it up. I am absolutely shocked at the preponderance of left politics, sexual adventures in that magazine. Where is the right represented? There's no fairness there. The left complains about equity. This is not equal. I just don't understand why, when the percentage of those who claim they are LGBTQ+ is approximately 5% of the adults in the United States. Well, that's what research says. Excuse me. I thought we weren't supposed to hear this. The 95% is not represented in BookPage. And I don't understand why these dollars should be spent in that way. So I'm asking that you cancel the BookPage subscription and you further cut the library budget by reducing book purchases. And I ask maybe that God will guide you in your decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Hi, everybody. I'm Gary McClintock, Hernando, Florida. I would not like my tax money to pay for BookPage. And also, I'll keep this short. I see the woke agenda seeping its way into our library, and I would like to see it stopped. Thanks.
Thank you. Next.
Hello, I'm Miss Rhonda Santos, Beverly Hills. I would like to address the board and ask that you all rethink all these comments that are being brought to you. When they say DEI, that includes women. When they say anything else as far as woke, that also includes other races. And you know that we're America. We are united. We are a melting pot of this world. And that's what we stand for. And the United States Constitution and the Florida Constitution both state that we will not accept or support any one particular state religion. Therefore, we have all kinds of religions. Some would think that, we got to stop this woke agenda because, we got witchcraft. I'm like, you do know what Harry Potter was about, right? And that's like the number one thing for the kids. They just love it. And you go to Universal, and it's fantastic. It's just fantasy. It's not real. I'm like, but these people, you would think that this was real, okay? So I wanted to bring a little sense and a little humor to us. This is the first time I've been here because it's too damn early. Y'all I don't know how you get up. To get all this done, oh, girl, let me tell you, it takes a long time. So I was thinking, a few years ago, they were talking about that drag queen story hour. I thought, wow, we don't even have that here. That would be great. So I thought about some new books I was going to read to some chillins. It said, Move Over Jesus, Here Comes John. You know which one I'm talking about. And then we got this other one called Little Ruby's First Day in Miss Janet's Classroom. And you know which Miss Janet we talk about, right? Well, this is 2025. This is not 1950. Let's continue to progress. I think our library system here in Citrus County is one of the best. I love it. And I want to applaud you all for all your hard work. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ms. Lola, that's your warning.
Thank you.
All right, next.
Hi, my name is Betty Honkinen. I've lived in Citrus County for 27 years. First, I want to thank all of the lab board members for their work. As a volunteer myself, I'm acutely aware of the time and effort it takes to do this, so it's much appreciated, giving of yourself. If memory serves me, though, I believe a special children's library card was voted on and approved by this board and is now in operation in all libraries. It's not yet in operation. It's going to be at some point, hopefully. Sorry, he was speaking to me. This is a wonderful thing. It allows the parents to make decisions for their kids, which card they receive. Therefore, parents have an opportunity to choose this card for their kids and personally restrict which books their children check out. Parents can certainly choose which books their children read in the library itself when you go in with your kids, as I think parents should do. Accompany them. It promotes the reading, it promotes looking at different things, and helps with their education, in my opinion. If parents already have a say in which library card their child may use at some point, and which books may be read and or checked out by them, then in my opinion, this effort by some to restrict one line item on the budget is a moot point. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. All right, do we have any other speakers? Mr. O'Connell.
Mike O'Connell, Floral City. Murder, 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 murder. I went through 2 copies of this Book Page magazine, and I'm certain that this is the most common verb used by far, not even close. And what is murder? Murder is hate incarnate, in my opinion. Now, I think maybe, and I'm surprised nobody's mentioned this, but maybe there might be a few heads nodding in the audience that this book is just, this magazine is all about murder. It's, not to mention a few other things. Reading through it, I found just a few things, and I'm going to ask, whose values does this sound like, San Francisco or Citrus County? Anti-Americanism, anti-Christian, anti-white, anti-male, pro-LGBT, pro-vampire, pro-trans, including for children, first surgeon. Oh, there's a book about the first trans surgeon in Berlin, who really may have ignited the hatred by the Socialist Party in Germany before World War II. There's an OnlyFans book, or it promotes OnlyFans. Generally pro-abortion, and I don't think our tax dollars should be promoting hate or anything that isn't in accordance with the natural law. So, a lady spoke a few minutes ago. I thought she spoke very well, and I was impressed by what she said. She spoke about love, which is the opposite of hate. If we love, we would promote life and all things that elevate the mind and promotes the human condition. So that's all I have to say. I'd just like to ask that we do not spend tax dollars on these hate magazines, and really murder, hate. It's all about murder and sexual themes. So another thing I wanted to mention, I went to the last meeting at the county commission concerning the county finances, and I definitely got the sense that Commissioners Finnegan, Kennard, and Barrick are all expecting cuts from the library board. So I think that this is a great start. Folks can go that want this, they can go online before they visit the library, and they can pick out all the books they're interested in.
Thank you, Mr. O'Connell. Time is
and get them then. You're welcome.
Hello, my name's Jeff Burke from Inverness, Florida, and I pastor a church, but I'm not here to pass moral judgment on anyone, one way or the other. I just want to say, what I'm perceiving and hearing all these comments this morning is that the controversy is on what to spend the county's taxpayer money on. Now, I've been a lover of libraries all my life. I was a library volunteer in high school. I would read a novel, and I don't even think any of them were Christian books, but I read a novel every couple of days. I mean, I love to read, and I love books, and I love to be in a library. I mean, I'm a lover of the library. But I want to say this. When I go to prepare a sermon for my church, I can't go in the local library, and I don't expect to, and find specialty books on theology. I order those special from a website called CBD. You can't find those in libraries, and I'm not saying I want you to order them and spend taxpayer money. That is a specialty book. And I think the controversy here today is there's a lot of specialty books flooding the library from the woke side of things, and we all know what that stands for. And there are plenty of specialty websites and even stores that they can buy this material from. And I think there's enough things that people on both sides of this issue agree on, enough books in that category, that we don't have to be fighting over all these specialty books. And that's what I would like to express to the chairman, is that I think we should get away from these specialty books on either side. And I don't expect to find my favorite specialty books. I don't go to the library and do research on church history. It's not there. I don't expect it to be there. And I don't think the other side should expect it to be there either. And I think we need to figure out, okay, what are the books that we can all agree on? Let's spend the money on those books. Those are going to get read the most. Those are the ones needed the most. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
My name is Vic Lewis. I'm from Floral City. And I don't want to go over and over what everybody's already said, but I wouldn't spend 10 cents for this book. I don't believe it belongs there, and that's my opinion. Thank you.
Next.
Good morning. Joanne Messina from Hernando. First, I want to thank the board members for their service to our community, and thank you to Adam and the amazing library staff for your dedication and professionalism. If you happen to travel out of state when you return home, you may have seen the Welcome to Florida sign on the highway, which proudly proclaims Florida to be the Freedom State. Freedom is a core American value. My freedom to have access to material in the public library should not be restricted by a vocal minority who fear things they do not understand or believe to be objectionable based on their personal worldview. We do not need to hear that they are only protecting the children. Parents must maintain the freedom to choose what is best for their own children. I'm a frequent patron of the Central Ridge Library. One of the first things I do at the beginning of each month is grab a copy of BookPage because copies go quickly. It is sought after by those who use our libraries. BookPage is a free monthly publication offering reviews of books, many of which have not yet been published. There's author interviews, themed book lists, and articles for book lovers. The Nashville-based publisher has produced this review since 1988, and book clubs find BookPages a most helpful resource. BookPage promotes intellectual freedom. Intellectual freedom is a human right. It is the right of every individual to seek and receive information from all points of view without restriction. It's a principle enshrined in international documents, such as the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and the First Amendment of our U.S. Constitution. Many fear what they do not understand. For some, their lack of understanding breeds apprehension and uncertainty and can give rise to anxiety, prejudice, and even hostility. Books are more than repositories of information. They are instruments for cultivating empathy, critical thinking, and creativity. Literature exposes readers to experiences, beliefs, and cultures different from their own, fostering understanding and compassion, values we should all agree on. Attempting to use the budgetary process to eliminate the subscription to BookPage because some may disagree or be offended by a book review is just another attempt at banning intellectual freedom. This seems incompatible in the Freedom State. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm the tall guy from Floral City. My name is Gordon Meyer. So, my father was an immigrant, and neither one of my parents graduated from high school. But they understood what reading meant and how it was essential to my growth. And I worked with my mother as a child to go to the library, start the next book, and the next book. And as a parent, I continued that with my children. And my children have continued that with their grandchildren. So we have like a whole family of readers and users of the library. But I'm telling you this because over 3 generations, my family has believed parents should choose the books their children read. However, today, parental rights are being undermined by religious extremists and white nationalists who want to impose their narrow-minded worldview on everyone. It is fundamentally un-American to strip away parental rights in this manner. And when it comes to physical books at a library, they're essential. So anybody that wants to cut library budget, sorry, I'm looking at the chair. Anyway, anybody who wants to cut buying physical books, I recommend against it, especially a book like this. I brought it, it's big, and I'm fortunate enough to be able to afford books like this, but many people aren't. And when a library has these giant books of art, they inspire our young people, and inspire them to be creative, and those are the people that are going to shape the future. So let's not take the books out of the library that way. So by cutting the library budget, if we do, we are reducing our children's exposure to art and literature, raising narrow-minded, uncreative children. Suppressing creativity makes America weak and uncompetitive on the world stage. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Janet Genova from Hernando. Thank you all for your patience this morning. You've heard from a radicalized minority with some bizarre ideas. Let me try and talk about our budget, or the budget, the library budget, relating to book purchases and replacement policies. The library's book budget supports the purpose of print books, e-books, and audiobooks. Keeping an accurate count of purchases can be complicated, as book prices vary widely, as for an example, the book that the previous speaker just brought up. The reason for replacing books: there are high demand titles. Books that are in great demand, especially bestsellers and book club picks, often require multiple copies and more frequent replacement. This is especially true in our county, where we have so many active book clubs. Children's books, they are replaced more often due to wear, accidental damage, and hygiene concerns. Children are hard on books, and that's a good thing. Outdated content, materials related to medicine, law, or technology can quickly become obsolete and need regular updating to maintain relevance and accuracy. Replacement decisions balance both budget limitations and community interests. Librarians work to maintain a collection that is both diverse and current by collaborating with other branches, sharing underused but well-preserved titles, and monitoring circulation statistics. Input from library patrons and trends in literature also guide retention and replacement choices. Regular evaluation ensures that the collection meets the changing needs of the community. It's important to remember that raw budget figures do not reflect these nuanced considerations. Collection decisions should be entrusted to library professionals who understand the complexities involved. And one more item on your agenda. You're going to be speaking about the 2026 meeting dates. Some time ago, I was standing here and requested that your meetings occur a little bit later in the day, after working families.
Thank you, your time has expired, but I
Thank
know where
you.
you're going with that.
Thank you.
Good morning, Library Board. My name's Robin Orlandi. I'm from Dunellen. I came to talk about the budget, but I'm going to have to speak briefly about book pages. A lot of the books titles that were mentioned by previous comments came from the curated list of offensive books that the Citrus Crusaders August newsletter featured. I would like to submit to you that I curated a complete list of non-offensive books on other titles that Book Pages covers and is covered in the 33 years of their existence. The publication was established in the 80s and is headquartered in Nashville, Tennessee. There were reviews of Hillbilly Elegy in this magazine, reviews of Unbroken in this magazine, and in fact, it does have a Christian fiction section right here in the identical copy that was featured in the attack on the magazine. So I would simply submit to you you need to do more research on this. This is a highly popular magazine that many patrons look forward to, including myself. And the comment has been made multiple times by those who were privileged enough to have internet at home and be able to afford computers at home that, oh, people don't need a hard copy because they can just look it up online. Well, one of the problems, and to shift to the budget discussion, is that many people that the library serves do not have access to books. They can't afford them. They do not have access to computers at home or to internet at home.
Hey,
Or to,
out. Hernando is a
Dunellen
town.
is in
Out.
Citrus. Sorry, dude. You're
Hey,
wrong.
But address me.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Reset
an
our time.
aside, right, can I, yeah, thank you. So, I mean, that's part of the conversation here, right? We should not subscribe to the ideas that you can't trust people who disagree with you and you can't trust people who are different from you. Because this is America. We're all different. We're from all different origins. We have all different points of view. And we have the freedom to agree to disagree and together to form a more faithful union to all of our ideals. That's where we should be. And that's also, if you're a strong Christian believer, love one another. Stop discriminating and stop hating on each other. So back to my point about the budget. The library serves many people who cannot afford other services, and they can't afford to have these things at home. So when you talk about cutting the library budget, you're talking about, you're not going to affect the people that already have the wealth to buy things, to replace computers at home, to buy their own books. You're going to be impacting the poorest among us, the working poor, the middle class. Inflation affects the cost of books as well as everything else. So to suggest at this time that we should be cutting the library budget, quite the contrary. We should be keeping the library budget at the same millage rate, which is the suggestion, at the same millage rate that it's had. There's not an increase in millage. The millage rate is the same. The $1 million of surplus is actually reserve funds. If there's an emergency, there's a fire, something happens, that's money that the library won't have to ask the community for more because they've been good custodians of their funds. One thing that people don't realize is that when there's an economic downturn, people begin to cut, like, oh, we can't afford the internet anymore, we can't afford our cable, we're going to go to the library. So the demand on library services is actually increased in times of inflation and tight economics, and that is a key factor here. Metro forecasting, the county hired to predict growth over the next 40 years. These are the numbers. Within the next 10 years, our population is going to grow by 26,300 people. In the next 15 years, by 42,000 people. 42,000 people! And the figures just go up exponentially. So we need to strengthen libraries to be able to address the needs of those people coming into our community who are going to bring in lots of different points of views, ideas, and cultures. So my recommendation is keep BookPage. It has a following. If people don't like it, they don't have to pick it up. And it enables people like that little old lady who's retired in a trailer somewhere in Beverly Hills that can't afford internet. She can go home and read about this. And as one of
Thank
my
you. Your
little...
time has expired.
Thank you.
Next speaker.
Good morning. This is Nancy Doyle, and I live in Pine Ridge, which is in this county. So, I wanted to start by talking about my grandkids. My grandkids are between 4 and 6 months, and 2 of them are mixed race. And they live north of here. And if they want to look up what it feels like to be mixed race, what it feels like to be of one religion or a different religion, I want them to be able to look that up in the books and to read. My oldest son reads all sorts of things that this group might want to get rid of. Things like Batman, all this violence, all these things about things like witches but he reads to them and he explains it to them. So he has an open mind. So one of the things I'm worried about is attacking the children here, saying they can read this and can't read that. When I grew up, we had library cards, and they did determine what we could read. But my parents went with me to the library at least every other week. And we read and read and read, and I still read now that I'm resigned and have time. So I will start with, well, middle of the road. I worked for NOAA, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, and I was a mathematician and a geodesist, and no one ever knows what geodesist is. And that's one of the problems. You have to have a dictionary to look it up in. You have to have freedom to look up some of our publications that tell you about things like hurricanes and tell you about things like global warming. And then you can decide better whether you believe in it. So a lot of the next part I was going to read, Robin just put out, so I'm not going to repeat it, but we need the books for the people that live in the trailers, the people that don't have homes, the people that come to the library to read and to use their internet and use their computers. They don't have them, and that's a big portion of this county. So it is critical to buy books with current and history and share them with our county. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good morning, John Labriola, Inverness. So I was listening because I wanted to hear what people had to say about the Book Page magazine, which seems to be the topic today. And you have a very big crowd here today because people are very interested in this particular magazine. That somebody mentioned that there's Christian books that are also promoted here. This magazine is actually online. You can go in, and I just looked up one that's categorized as a Christian book, and the last line is. Whoops, I lost it. But basically, it says that a book that I can't find it now, but a book that claims to be Christian. It says that Christianity is an oppressive, faith that oppresses people. So that's what's categorized as a Christian book in the Book Page magazine, and the Book Page magazine is a prominently displayed magazine. The thing is, when you have a prominently displayed magazine that you're purchasing hundreds of copies of throughout the library and placing it right when you come into the entrance, about 30 or 50 copies per library for the 5 libraries, that reflects an endorsement of the views that are reflected in the magazine. And if you go through them, you've heard CRT, LGBT, the witchcraft. And one of the areas that they really emphasize is book banning. So they say book banning, as you've heard from the people here, is a very bad thing. And who is doing it? The right. What they're talking about is parents who want to keep their children shielded from pornography. There is one book that was recently featured as recommended in the Book Page magazine. It was called The Librarian. It's by Amanda Jones, who is a school librarian. She's a pro-LGBT school librarian who openly defies parents wishing to remove pornographic materials from the school, which the magazine, of course, characterizes as book bans. And it says that removing these materials actually causes children to kill themselves. There's no evidence for this ridiculous claim, but that's what they're claiming. And then the author herself, who again is a pro-LGBT librarian at a school, says, "I'll be damned if I'm going to stand in silence. I'll be damned if I'm going to stand in silence while we lose another kid because of something our community has done to make them feel less." So it's a very militant, pro-LGBT stance that really casts a lot of scorn on Christian parents who just want their children not to be exposed to pornography. Now, this is a school librarian again who's saying this. Some of the other titles that the Book Page magazine promotes are The Unlikely Pursuit of Mary Bennett by Karina Adoris, which reimagines Jane Austen characters as lesbians, a change that the reviewer now states is the best
Thank you, Mr.
and only
Labriola.
way.
Your time has expired.
I'll just the best and only way to improve.
Your time has expired.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Labriola. In the essence of being fair, everyone must abide by their time. Thank you.
Am I good? Good morning.
State your name and where you're from.
I'm Tim Gilbert. I'm from Inverness. I'm a young working man who lives in this county. Unlike the previous speaker, I have a wife and a child. So I'm speaking on behalf of them today. I will tell you this much. The last time I came to this board was a couple months ago because I have an issue with a gentleman that was attempting to look at porn in the library, and it fell on deaf ears on this board. So look at the camera. We don't care about that, guys. We care about this. So, Mr. Chair, that was directed at you. However, this is what I'm bothered about, all right? I'm a parent, right? And I'm not saying that I want my kid to look at pornography of any kind. It's absolutely wrong. However, I don't need someone who doesn't represent me or, frankly, my friends either. I spoke to one pastor who wishes to remain anonymous today, and it said that even though some of these people might have good intents in their heart, they do not speak for the entire Christian religion. And I'm going to state that again. They do not speak for the entire Christian religion. I respect them, and I respect their religion. I was born in a Presbyterian church my whole life. However, I think the charade of protect our children needs to be looked at very carefully. I don't want to bring my daughter to the library if I have grown men that are just going to sit there and, creep on the library or stare and watch other children. To me, that's not protecting them. I don't see a change in policy making stronger cybersecurity policies for the library. I don't see better policies for parents like me that want to have access and control to what my children read. All I hear today is ban, 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 get rid of this, get rid of that. If it was about money, then you're telling me that they went through the entire budget and the only thing they could find was a $3,000 line item and that's going to flip Citrus County into the black? Come on. Yeah, come on. Okay, all right. Anyway, I'm going to stop now. Thank you for your time. I think you guys do a great job. I don't think anyone needs to be fired. And again, this isn't a man or a group that represents our community. 2 elections lost now. I'm sorry, that's not a majority. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
My name is Eric Ball. I'm a lifelong citizen of Citrus County. I guess I will speak for the entire Christian religion. There is such a thing as right. There is such a thing as wrong. And it's wrong to sexualize kids, to pervert their young minds and to steer them in evil direction.
Out. Out. Reset his time.
I guess I'm
Hold on.
controversial here.
Let me be clear. If I have to have a deputy here next time and have y'all hauled out in handcuffs, I'll do it. Don't play that nonsense with me. All right? Let's respect. I realize the 2 morons just left, but don't do that. Let's respect everybody that speaks, no matter what side they're on. That is freedom of speech. All right? Thank you.
Abortion is wrong, always, everywhere. If you don't respect human life, made in the image of God, well, I guess I speak for the entire Christian religion. God is pro-life. God created us in his image, male and female. So to oppose that, to militate against that, to try to force perversion on kids is evil. I remember probably 15, 20 years ago now, Planned Parenthood came out with a sexual education guide for children. And it was available online. I looked at it. It was horrible. It showed comical drawings, if you will, depicting all kinds of sexual acts. And it occurred to me back then that 30 years prior, if someone showed this material to a kid, they would have been marched off to jail so fast, they'd have been lucky to make it to jail, really. Try that in a small town. Now look, now we've come to where we are spending public money. I don't understand. This is evil. It's wrong. And all this about hatred. I don't hate anybody. The Bible forbids me to do it, but I do hate evil. And you're not supposed to have comments back here. I've heard plenty. It was plenty hateful, and it was all anti-Christian. The lady who just walked out, open-minded, full of hate. I oppose this spending money on something that's available at no cost. Makes no sense, except for there are people who want to push this on kids. It's pure evil. It's an issue of good and evil. It's a spiritual issue, and it's that simple. It's pretty self-evident. I'm done.
Thank you. Next speaker. You can set it there. They're all piled up there. Taylor would be. Yep. We got it.
Do you get it? Okay.
We'll get them.
Okay, thank you. I'm Rita Fox. I've been in this lovely county for 3 years now, and I live in Lecanto. This is my first time here with the Library Advisory Board, but I feel like deja vu because 2 years ago, John and his group were against paying $275 from the library's budget to keep in alignment with the American Library Association. So I called the paper and I said, I'll write a check for it. And that went on for quite a while. Library couldn't take a check from us. We collected with our group, Citrus Coffee Coalition on Facebook, if anyone would like to join us. We welcome Democrats, Republicans, and independents with an open mind and that know that woke is a compliment and not a derogatory term. For me, I remember I read somewhere, the majority of Americans live their life within a 50-mile radius of where they were born. And that still astounds me. I'm an Army brat. And somebody mentioned they love their country. Well, I loved my country so much, I enlisted during Vietnam. My father was a lifer. I did 2 years, and my ex-husband's a West Pointer. So I've been, well, I'm going to be 70, so I guess almost 40 years as a civilian now. This isn't about money. This is about ultra-right zealots trying once again to keep something that they say is filled with sex, 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 murder, 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 that's so offensive. Well, if it's so offensive, put it down. You don't have to look at it. And children should be accompanied by their children. That didn't make sense. Parents should take their kids to the library. I did with my children. My mother did with me. Books are a way to expand not only the horizon, but your way of thinking, especially if you're not going to exceed a 50-mile radius in your lifetime. I pulled up information here. Barely 20% of the people that live in this county have a college education, ages 25 and up. You've got a lot of people that need all the books they want. If it offends you, don't check it out. If you don't want your child to read it, don't allow your child to read it. But this isn't about money today. This is about John and his gang. And I would like to end by saying, my shirt says my feelings. Ban La Briola.
Thank you. Your time has expired.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rose Hagstrom, and I live in Homosassa. And also I want to thank the library system because they do a great job in my community, particularly Homosassa, with a high percentage of disadvantaged youth. And all I'm asking for is to allow our knowledge to expand. If you read the screen up there, it says Citrus Libraries Discover, Learn, and Engage. That's what BookPage does. And it's not about money, it's about politics. We need to bring in books or availability of knowledge that's out there. If you don't like it, don't read it. But also let me have my rights for freedom to see what other books are out there too. Don't take that away. That's taking away my freedom. And I don't want to take your freedom of what books you want to read or don't read, but don't also take it away from me. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, if we have any. Seeing no takers. All right. I don't want to act like I'm excited to close open to public. That is not at all.
Hello, my name is Trina Romeo. I've lived here for about 30 years now. And
Where are you from? Town.
Inverness, off Stagecoach. And I believe in libraries. I always went to them. I believe you should take your children to the library. It's a place to learn. However, I think that in certain respects that we're personalizing what it is that you want to have in the library. I think that sometimes a lot of parents are not even aware of what goes on. A lot of citizens are not even aware of what goes on. I think that the library board should be more of what everybody wants, not just the people that are willing to get out and say something. Sometimes, yes, the squeaky wheel gets the oil, but there's a lot of people out there that don't even have a clue of what's happening and what's being spent here. Citrus County Library is for the people, but it also should not be an agenda for any one particular personal values to be here, especially when it comes to the idea that so much money is being spent on a particular magazine. And we're not Publishers Clearinghouse. If you want the magazine, go and buy it. You know what it is? Take out a subscription, all right? Why should everybody have to pay for magazines that 30 magazines that are sent to each library, and people can just pick them up and take them home? They're not checked out. They're basically given away. And I think that's wrong. When people are working here, you mentioned about 20% only going to college. We have so many people that are on such a budget that is so strict from week to week. They have paychecks. And then you have us spending over $3,000 on magazines that people can just take home. That's not what a library does. A library has things to check out, and then you bring them back. That's what a library does. And spending money on books is very important, but this is just ridiculous. The taxes are going up. They want to have $200 more for just the fire thing on my small home. And we really need to be present and aware of all the people in this county. It's growing very fast. And there'll be a lot more service people that are coming here that are going to be going from week to week with their salaries.
Thank you. Your time has expired.
Thank you.
Oh.
I didn't finish my
Nope.
2 minutes. I have a question.
After open to the public, you can.
I can talk after open to the public?
No, but
I just
when.
wanted to ask you to tell us about that thing that's up there. I would have liked to have known that this is giving me my 3 minutes. That's
Okay.
all I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
So, because I've never been here before. And
Yeah, thank
it's
you.
brilliant. And a lot of people, if they knew that, would have stopped before you had to tell them to.
Right.
So that's all.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Please don't do that again. All right. Anybody else? All right. I am closing open to the public. All right. Okay. So I think one thing that can be said is that if anyone did, I exercised grace today. There were many of you in the audience on both sides. Nobody can point any fingers on both sides that did not listen to the instructions, or you did, or you just ignored them. And I want you to know there's a reason why we do this, because everyone got up here and expressed their opinion. which is exactly what the United States represents, right? I can disagree with your opinion. In fact, I disagree with a lot of them. But however, that's not the important part. The important part is that you had the opportunity to try to persuade me with your opinion, your facts, and even maybe the way you felt about the facts. And I will say that some of you did that very well. Most of you got up here and just vented. And that's okay. You have that right. But I would say that, with the gentleman over here, I wrote your name down, but I thank you for your comment. I will tell you, you were a breath of fresh air. And I apologize, but Mr. Lorraine, correct? And several others were just wonderful, and you, ma'am, too, as well. The one who broke the rule at the last minute. Look, let's not turn this into a circus, all right? Let's respect each other. We all love the library, right? I mean, that's something we can agree on. We all love the library. It's important to us. It's important what's in the library, or you wouldn't be here. So we at least have that common ground. Let's respect what we have here. Let's respect this public input and try not to make it into some sideshow. Let's be kind, okay? You know, as a Christian, which I'm a pastor, I think that's pretty well common knowledge. As a pastor, one of the biggest things about being a Christian is showing kindness to those that you necessarily disagree with, okay? I don't have to agree. I certainly can speak my own mind, and I do that pretty well, but I can be kind, and that's important. I realized we had two very ignorant people express their opinion as they walked out the door. Listen, instead of embarrassing yourself that way, if you have a moment and you cannot, I realize some of you cannot think without speaking what you're thinking. I get that, okay? I have a 7-year-old that way.
That's right. Never a precedent like that.
I realize that. But if you feel like you're going to lose your integrity in a moment, in a brief moment of frustration, just step outside. Cool yourself down and come back in here. It's that simple. And I stay around after this meeting, and I listen. And I give ear to every single one of you that want to speak afterwards to me. Okay? Adam, man, he is always open. You know, respect his time, but you can call him, email him, and he is so generous with his time. Okay? There's no need for that kind of nonsense that just took place. They didn't persuade anybody other than the fact that we realize that their intelligence level is not that great. Does that make sense? Yes. So, that being said, a couple things. All right, I don't want to get off into a lot. I said thank you. The other thing is, with regards to book page, this is not teacher raise your hand time. Public input's over. With regard to book page, I did some simple figuring, and we're talking like 40 cents per person is what that essentially equates to. Full disclosure, I've not had time to review the book or the magazine. I was aware of that this would come up. I had intentions on grabbing one copy, looking through it. I threw my back out on Saturday. I'm still recovering, so if I get a little snippy, have grace towards me. And then obviously Sunday is a very busy day for me, and so I did not have time to look through it. I imagine that many on this board did not have time to look through it in the capacity that it would deserve to be reviewed. So that being said, I would say that against what I really want to do, I think that probably the best way to address this would be to present this through the review process. Does that make sense? And allow BookPage to go through the review process, make a judgment, a final judgment, do what we do here as a board. We're talking about a $3,000 and change line item that essentially is not going to make or break the budget. So I don't feel like it's necessary that we just eliminate and strike that without looking through the publication. I think we should look through the publication. I would say this, I would like to have, if possible, several months of the publication, me personally, to look through it. I don't know if that's possible, Director Chang, or not. If it is, whatever, that would be great. Because I think that it would be impossible to make that determination off of just one issue. I think we should have as much information as we possibly can. And then we look through it, okay? Director Chang is going to give a full detailed report of the budget in just a few moments, so I'm not going to rehash anything. If we have questions afterwards, he delivers that. We'll go over that. I don't feel like, I feel like we should allow you to give the presentation first before I do say anything on that. And 50-mile radius, that was interesting for me. I am one of those. In fact, my family for 7 generations hasn't moved out a 50-mile radius from where they were born. My family's been in this county since the 1850s. So when you talk about community, our community, hey, I get it. Yeah. All right? That's it. Mr. Bramlett, you got anything you'd like to say?
I'll wait for Mr. Chang's presentation with respect to the budget.
Okay. Mr. Campbell.
So for the review process, are we going to go into the old business for that? There's a motion I'd like to add a question onto that. Okay, I just want to make sure. I do appreciate everybody's time today. I know it's over an hour and a half of comments, and like what you had. Okay.
That's never happened before.
Like what you had stated, Chair, that this is our freedom.
It is.
Matthew here.
No.
Nice to have some levity.
Matthew was kicked out.
Okay. But I just want to say thank you for everybody's comments. And like you had said, Chair, this is comment for both sides. Even there's things that we disagree with. I have everybody has a distorted opinion on things, and mine is always right. So, and that's what, those are things.
I feel that.
Yeah, and the thing is, I understand, we as a board, we have, we listen, we take notes, we do listen to what is being said, and we want to respect everybody, and that's why we're here. And, I want to make sure that we are able to accommodate both sides of things and make sure if there is one side not represented or overrepresented, we need to make sure everybody's equally here. So thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Nelson.
I concur with what he has said, and I came prepared more to deal with the budget than something coming possibly on the budget. There were a lot of other things on the budget that would have been a bigger concern to me. But I do agree that it would be good to test out whatever we come up with, and let that be the first run of the tests. It could be Enter, and it could be the board reviewing that magazine to see if we want to continue with the publication purchase.
Okay. I'm sorry, are you done?
Yes, sir.
Mrs. Ramlow?
I will wait until after the budget's been discussed and everything.
Mrs. Benfield?
I just think your idea of reviewing it is the way to go. That's it.
Mr. Reagan?
Yeah, I guess I'm in favor of reviewing it too. Take a look at it. I just got back last night. I didn't even look at this particular issue. I've seen others in the past. It's useful to me, but if you want to review it, I'm fine with that.
That's it?
Mm-hmm.
Mrs. Ebbets?
I concur with your suggestion to review BookPage as a body
and I have a question for the budget, but I will save that for his presentation.
Okay. All right. Now, let's see where we're at. All right, report of officers and standing work groups. I see nothing over that. No special items either. Anybody, as far as booked, we don't have a report on that, correct? Okay. And then moving into regular business, we'll begin with the director's report.
Thank you, Chair. If I can just clarify one thing that was mentioned and open to the public, I just want everybody to make sure they have an understanding that that restricted access card, we're planning to have live end of this year, December, is when kind of our timetable for that is. We are working behind the scenes on it, but I just wanted to make sure that it hasn't been forgotten on the library staff's end. We are doing a lot of behind the scenes pieces, and we'll have updates for you at the next meeting or the December meeting as we finalize that. I just wanted to make sure I did mention that one. As far as a director's update, I'll try to keep it brief. So things are moving very well with the library. We're wrapping up a lot of our end of the year items. Taylor's going to give a very good update in a few minutes on some of the different things we've been working on. But I do also want to acknowledge that staff have been doing a phenomenal job over the last couple of months, especially with all the different projects that are happening. We're seeing a lot of really positive things continue to grow within our libraries. And then I'll talk briefly about the Coastal Region renovation. So Coastal Region is nearing completion. So some of the things that we have done to this point, we added new LED lighting throughout the building. We've added additional meeting space. We've added study rooms. It has new flooring all throughout. We did an exterior paint, as you can see up there, so it's a lot brighter. It's a little bit more welcoming now. We're still doing some other kind of cosmetic things like that, but we are in the process. You can see the carpet changing here. We did some rearranging of the shelving as well to open up the library a little bit more. And then we are going to be closed. We actually are closed as of yesterday. We're closed between August 25th through September 9th. And only at the Coastal Region branch, the other 4 branches remain fully open. But what we're doing during this time is the restrooms are getting an update. So everything inside the restroom, all the fixtures are getting ripped out, and new is coming in to update and modernize the restroom. The tile is getting reglazed. We're adding badge readers in staff areas. We're going to be receiving new furniture. And we're doing some cabling work as well to allow us to move some of our computers and networking equipment to different areas in our library. So those changes will be happening now throughout early September. There is one slight delay with our renovation, and that is our circulation desk will not be ready by September 9th. So when we open back up fully on September 9th, we won't have our full circulation desk yet. There's about a 2-week delay on that. So I'm still kind of tracking and monitoring that to make sure we get it as quick as possible. But that should be really the final piece that we're waiting on. But we will open back up to the public on the 9th, pending any, I'll say, hurricanes or anything like that. That did impact our renovation last year at Lakes. So I will say that my plan is to open on the 9th as long as we have a continuous run of time to work. Another thing that I want to kind of briefly go over, I had some questions from different board members about our library materials and library material purchases. So just a quick overview of this, just to give you a little bit more insight into this one. So materials that we have, we do weed them from time to time, and they're weeded based on low interest, replacement, or if we have updated information, or if things are kind of worn and damaged. I do have some samples of some books that we've read recently. If anybody would like to take a look at those, I can show you those. I do also want to clarify, because I've heard this kind of question come up a little bit about how many books we weed. So books aren't weeded on a one-to-one basis, meaning that if we buy a book, we're not getting rid of a book. We don't do it necessarily based on space concerns. And one of the things that we've really tried to do over the last couple years is we know that there is an increased demand on digital materials, but there also is a huge demand, and we're seeing growth in our physical collection as well. So we wanted to make sure when we did these renovations and we looked at future space needs that we were making sure that we kept physical space in the libraries. And in fact, we actually grew space as far as materials that will be available on the shelves for Lakes Region, Coastal, and Homosassa Library. So we can fit more materials on the shelves. It doesn't necessarily mean, again, that we're getting rid of everything. We're adding more capacity to those areas. And then I did kind of take a little bit of an analysis with this, and our branch shelves are about 85% full right now. And you'll see in the next couple slides, there's a couple pictures here. So you can see this is at our Floral City branch on the left. You can see our new bookshelf. We have capacity to fill these shelves if we want, but we faced out some of the books, and we have some space at the bottom there. So you can see it's not completely end-to-end with books. That's a lot of our collection management staff do a phenomenal job in making sure that all of our shelves appear neat, orderly, and they're timely like this. And then on the right there, that's a picture of our youth room over at the Lakes Region Library. You'll see there is capacity and space there to add more materials, as we go. And then a couple more pictures of some of our adult stacks. You'll see on the left, that is at the Lakes Region branch. The Lakes Region branch and the coastal look almost identical again now, but that's from the Lakes Region. There's capacity there. And on the right, if you look over at coastal, you can see there are a lot of spaces there where we could add additional materials. One of the other things that's not really telling in this picture, but I want to point out, if you look at the top of the shelf and the bottom, we never use the top or the bottom shelf. We position the shelving in a way that maximizes the ability for everybody to reach these materials, because we get concerns that people say books are too high, because we do have tall stacks, so we don't use that top space. We kind of move everything down a little bit, but we also don't use that very bottom shelf as well. We avoid those because we also get concerns from patrons that say, books are too low. So we try to keep them in as neat as a fashion as we can, but if we had to, we could fill those spaces, but we choose not to, just for convenience for everybody in that regard. Okay, so library materials purchased monthly. This was a question that came up that we do primarily purchase based, again, on popularity, replacement of materials, and to fill our collection gaps. And we buy these based on, again, popularity or those collection gaps or replacement materials, as in we replace things that are worn out. A speaker, I think, mentioned about children's books getting worn out quite frequently. If we have collection gaps, we look at things especially seasonally. So if we get close to the holidays around Christmas, we want to make sure that we have, just as an example, like How the Grinch Stole Christmas, we want to make sure we have several copies of that book because we know around that time people are going to want to check those books out. We start looking, in the spring if we want more books about Easter or whatever our summer theme might be. We want to make sure we have materials that fit, those time periods, and we want to make sure that it's current and it's in good condition. But we do buy primarily on popularity. We are a popular fiction library, and we do purchase around 1,300 materials on average a month. Some months it's less, but it is for 5 branches. And we do have what's called a floating collection in our libraries, meaning that if you take a book out at one branch, you can return it to any other branch and it stays at that branch. So oftentimes it helps us not buy too many of the same book. We try to space those out and use tax dollars wisely there. So we're making sure that, if a book ends up in another library, it'll go there so other people can enjoy it. It doesn't always have to mean you have to go to a certain library to get it. And you can also request books as well. If there's a book you want, we don't have it, we can usually get it from another library, or we can even get it out of county as well. In some cases, we can borrow books. But that 1,300 books, that breaks down to about 1,100 physical books a month and 200 digital. And of those 1,300 books, it's about 600 unique physical materials that are added, and that's 450 adult and then 150 youth per month that are unique titles. So the rest of those make up duplicate copies, or they make up replacement copies of materials. So for example, with the adult section, when we're looking at the bestsellers, we may have a list of 40 bestsellers, and we know those are going to have quite a wait list on those. It's the Lee Childs, it's the James Patterson, those sorts of materials that we know a lot of people are going to check out. So we buy 5+ copies of those because we know that there is going to be a high demand. There's typically on some of our bestseller titles, there's about 100 people waiting for those books. So we do try to make sure we get people through those lines as quick as we can. But again, it's still making sure that we have a variety of materials available for people. On average, if the holds list gets to be about 8 per material, we'll buy a replacement copy within reason. And then for our digital side, that's a lot worse. If there's a lot of holds on digital, unfortunately that one, we add a second copy of a digital item when it hits 18. So you're going to get your print books much faster, but digital we are buying multiple copies in the case of, if people have that long request list. So that's pretty much everything I had as far as my director's update. I will dive into the budget a little bit more specifics as we get to that part. But do you all have any questions on either of these items, coastal or material purchases?
No, thank you for that in-depth
Yes, very
information on how it's purchased and where it goes. That's very helpful. Question, how long do we have this room to?
We have it at least until 12. I don't believe there's anything after us, but officially we booked the room till noon.
Okay. All right.
I do have a very quick question. For the, who or what service is used to purchase the books?
So primarily, we're buying books through Baker and Taylor.
Baker and Taylor.
Sometimes we're purchasing them through another vendor called Ingram. But those are our primarily two sources that we purchase from.
Thank you for that question. Because Book Page, we don't purchase books through Book Page, correct?
Correct. We do not purchase directly through Book Page. In fact, we don't buy everything that's in Book Page. A lot of those books we do not actually own unless we get requests for them. And we're not buying books at the same time Book Page is being delivered to us. We're buying months ahead. So
Right,
we're about
okay.
2 months ahead with what we're ordering. So by the time Book Page gets into our library, we've already ordered for September's titles. We've
Got
already
it.
ordered for whatever month we're in. We're usually ahead of Book Page. It's really for the public to view.
Okay, that's just information, probably.
Sure.
Good. Anybody
Right,
else?
And basically Baker and Taylor and Ingram are distributors, not necessarily publishers.
That's good info, too. Anybody else? All right. PR update. Come on, Taylor. Make us laugh.
Look, that is very loud today, guys. Whoa. Okay.
We know.
You look really very happy about that, and I don't know how I feel about this, Justin. All right, so we are going to dive in really quickly to our digital book clubs. And so as I've talked about before, we do run a digital book club that we are calling Citrus Reads. We have been running this since April of last year. So we've been doing this for a little more than a year. Our last title that we used was in June and July, and we had 209 checkouts for the summer book club. We did elect to extend that one a little bit longer to make sure that we could hit it over that long weekend, 4th of July. We know that there's always people looking for a title that can be checked out right away. As Adam had mentioned, there are sometimes some very long holds lists for our digital materials, so we try to make sure there's something available. Our current Citrus Reads title is The 5-Year Lie, and that already has, and that 159 checkouts is actually incorrect. It is higher. We are just under 200 checkouts, and it has only been out for a week. And so this is already our fastest moving title. I updated this yesterday at about 3 o'clock, and so since then we've had a number of checkouts. And so that one is sponsored by our Central Ridge Friends of the Library, and so they were our 5th Friends of the Library group to sponsor one for this year. And so that one runs through September the 9th, and it is available in both ebook and audiobook on Libby. Our upcoming big movie watch. So there's 2 of these that are promoted through Canopy, which is our online free service to be able to check out movies. It's like Netflix, but with a much smaller, more curated selection of shows for you to be able to watch. So the upcoming movie that they will be featuring is The Love Punch, and that will become available on September the 19th, and I believe it runs through September the 28th. And so if you are not already using the Canopy app, you can use it as an app on your TV, on your phone, and then you just put in your library card information, sign in, and you're able to watch whatever shows and movies are available. But this one will be available for everyone. So we're pretty excited about that. Upcoming in September is Library Card Sign-Up Month, and so that begins on September the 2nd. I would say September the 1st, but that is Labor Day, and so we are closed. So it starts on September the 2nd, that Tuesday, and it is a promotion that will be running throughout the month of September. And we partner with our friends to do some different giveaways and things that encourage people to come into the branches and get their library cards. Also happening in Library Card Sign-Up Month, we partner with our local schools, both our public schools and our private schools, to hand out kindergarten families library card applications. And so what we do is we take paper library applications to the schools, the teachers for kindergartners get those, they hand them out, they go home to the families. They have a digital or a digital option where they can fill out the form online, or they can fill it out in paper, send it back to their school, and then we go back and we pick up all of the paper copies of applications. We normally see a couple hundred new card holders through that program. And as a little incentive to our families, every kindergartner receives a free Subway Kids Pack. And so this is our 19th year partnering with our local Subways. Dave and Scott Lambo and their family have been amazingly generous over the years for this partnership. And so we are very excited that we are on year 19 with that one. Okay, so our digital library cards, just a quick little update for this one. I do have some fun little graphs in the next couple of slides. So we are at more than 350 digital cards since launching this on May the 12th. And a little breakdown here for you. So this is our age breakdown and the percentages I did show. So that's 60.3% for Central Ridge is 214 cards. 14 cards have come from Floral City, 21 from Coastal Region, 64 from Homosassa, and then 42 from Lakes Region. And again, these are numbers that we updated from yesterday. I will say the most common time that people get library cards is between 10 o'clock at night and 1 a.m. We do see a lot of people getting their digital library cards, and we're like, oop, they are wanting to check out and read a book before bed. That is what people are doing. So, and we're so glad that they have that digital card option, because from 10 o'clock at night to 1 a.m., the library is not open for them to come in and get a library card. I know, crazy, right? And just a little breakdown, we did show this at a recent staff meeting. And so this is just a breakdown of the different cities within our county. You can see that Inverness has 74 cards. The Beverly Hills, Hernando, Pine Ridge area, those are all Citrus Springs. Those do add up to be a little bit more than Inverness. So our Central Ridge branch is still showing the highest number of new card holders. But just a little breakdown there for you.
Very cool.
A quick summer update. So you do all have summer statistics on your handout. It's that lovely colorful sheet of paper that we handed you. Just some highlights. So our kickoff block party, we had 288 attendees, and that was 347 physical books were checked out that day. For reference, we usually only do about 100 between the 4 branches that are open on Saturday. So 347 from one location in a small amount of time was phenomenal for us. We did have local community partners like Mosquito Control, Parks and Recreation, and the Citrus County Sheriff's Office out to provide some information and different activities for our kiddos while they were there. We did have our teens only challenge this year, and so that was for our 13 to our 17-year-old readers. We worked with the Walmart of Homosassa to create some additional special baskets for them, and then the Walmart of Inverness was very generous and donated an additional gift card that they could have as a prize as well. Oh, and I didn't update this percentage number. I'm so sorry. It was not a 348% increase in early literacy participation. It was a 48% increase in early literacy participation.
A little different.
A little different, yes. But still a 48% increase is huge for us. I think we noted at the last meeting, that number is so impressive because our little ones, our ages 0 to 5, they are not logging their minutes in Beanstack. Their grown-ups are logging their minutes, which means those parents are really taking the time to understand that early literacy is a huge, huge thing that they should be participating in. So we were very excited at those numbers. Our community goal was 500,000 minutes, and that was logged minutes between our 0 to our most senior of patrons for their minutes being logged. And so we saw a total. Our numbers differ a little bit here, but our accurate number is what is here on your printout. And so it is 543,689 logged minutes. For reference, we did about 343,000 minutes last year. So a 200,000 minute increase was a huge number for us. We had 398 kids participate in that ages of 6 to 17. And 98 kids logged over 1,000 minutes. Wow. And some of those were in our 0 to 5 age range. So we were pretty impressed because we know that getting a 5-year-old to sit and listen for 1,000 minutes of reading is no small feat. And so we were pretty excited to see that number come in. All right, and then just our last quick little slide here. So this is just a snapshot of some of our favorite pictures featuring each of our 4 youth librarians. Miss Corey is on the left from our Homosassa Library. Miss Amy is that second picture. She is at our Lakes Region Library. The middle picture is from our Mad Science event. You can't go wrong with dry ice and fog in a library. Like, it's just exciting and cool to do science like that. And then Miss Kim, I think that was her bird program that day. She had on a bird headband, a bird-themed dress, and she may have had on bird earrings. She goes all in for her themes. It's a full dedication moment there for her at Central Ridge. And then on the right is Miss Yvonne, who is our newest youth librarian. She started about 2 weeks before our summer reading program, and she dove in with both feet and was just excited and thrilled to be able to participate with our summer reading. So All right, upcoming on Saturday, September the 13th, is our 5th annual C4Con. It is our Citrus County Comics and Cosplay Convention, hence why we've abbreviated it down to C4. That one is a huge event. We usually see anywhere between 400 to 500 people come to our Homosassa Library that day, and it is just a fantastic opportunity to get our families out to be able to participate not only in some crafts and activities, but we have an amazing panelist who's coming to teach drawing this year, so we're pretty excited. This is a new opportunity for us. I was just called recently and asked, how many clipboards do you have? We need more. And I said, don't you worry, I've got an entire box of them. So we are pretty excited and ready to have all of the supplies prepared for our kiddos who come in for that panel. In front of you, I gave you 2 book sale flyers, one for you and one for a friend, because we're always wanting to invite more of our friends. It's the bright orange piece of paper that is almost impossible to miss. I saw you searching there, Justin. All right, so our first book sale is for our focal sale. It's the Friends of the Citrus County Library System. Their mega sale is starting on Friday, October the 3rd, and it runs through Monday, October the 6th, and that's hosted at the Citrus Springs Community Center. It is a 4-day extravaganza of books. I believe at the last count, they had 800 boxes of books that were coming from the location of their book house to the Citrus Springs Community Center. And that doesn't include all of the books that will come in since that meeting and in the next couple of weeks. So, and there's not just books, there's also puzzles at this sale, and it should be fantastic. And then our Homosassa friends, they are hosting their fall sale on Thursday, November 13th through Saturday, November 15th. And so that is on the reverse side of your bookmark. We covered both sales in one bookmark. And so theirs is hosted at the Homosassa Library. And they also have DVDs. And I think they had puzzles.
CDs, and audiobooks.
There we go. Rose always knows what they're going to have at those book sales. It's always very appreciative. All right. Ooh, I think that was everything I had. Except I do have one last note. Debbie asked me to tell all of you that the first library that is run through the Citrus County Education Foundation will be starting again in October. And so they do 2 different Wednesdays, usually the first Wednesday of the month and the third Wednesday of the month. The first Wednesday is pre-K classes that they read to, and the third Wednesday is kindergarten classes. And so they're always looking for volunteers who will come in and read the books to those kiddos. And so what happens is the Education Foundation partners with a multitude of organizations throughout the county to provide books to our pre-K and kindergarten families in our public schools to help them start their first library at home. So we go in as volunteers, we read the book to them, they get to take that book home and begin their first library. So Debbie is always looking for volunteers to recruit, especially new ones. And I think that was officially everything.
All right.
Oh wait, questions?
Anybody have any questions?
Yes, Miss Emmy.
Not a question, just a statement, a thank you. I appreciate your help in getting my digital library card.
You are welcome.
Out of the glitch.
Yes. So we do also have mobile cards that if you have a physical card and you would like a card to be kept on your phone so that you don't always have to fiddle with your keychain to try to find your keychain card, there is a form that you can fill out on our website that will send you your digital barcode that is your exact barcode of your physical card to your phone for you. So all you have to do is fill that out.
And a quick comment. So last meeting, Carson, one of the little boys that had read, I think it was over 1,000 minutes.
He was, yes.
Yeah, so he was on my son's baseball team,
Oh,
and
very
he was actually at the Citrus High School baseball camp that they had, and I saw him, and I was like, and I his father there, and I was like, hey, good job on all the reading. And they were like, how did you know about this? And I was like, well, I'm on the LAB, and I was like, good job. So it was just really good being able to see someone else in the community, even someone that my son, knows, and seeing how well that is. So thank you for those programs, and thank you for running that. And
Yes.
it's good impact to the community.
Those kids got very excited to get their certificates and to get their name added to our Facebook posts and the pictures to there. And if we posted and then the next day someone had hit their 1,000 minutes, they're like, when does my name get added? When do I get my certificate? And so we were scrambling all summer to keep up with that. But we were thrilled to be able to congratulate our 98 kiddos. So, yes.
Anybody else?
Great stats. Thank you for all the stats.
Thank you. So before we move into old business, I think it would be expedient for us to take a short recess of 5 minutes. Would the board be, no? You don't want to do that?
No.
Let's get it done.
Y'all ready to rock and roll? Okay, let's go. So, next, old business. Review guidelines for materials under reconsideration. So, I'm gonna ask a little bit of discussion between the board real quick. One of the things that we have to do is we have to address the budget. Do we want to move the budget item H4 up?
Yes, please.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second? All right.
It's H4.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? No. All right, so we're gonna move that up. H4 is going up. All right, sorry, Taylor. Hope your fingers are ready. Okay. Go ahead, Director Chang.
Okay, just one more while Taylor gets that updated there.
While she is doing that, I'm taking a recess.
You want me to wait, or you want to keep going?
No, keep going.
Okay.
I'll figure it out.
All right, so a review of our library's budget, and I want to go over a couple things that, to kind of lead into more of the statistic side of things, so you kind of get an idea of where our library's going and what we're doing in addition to this. So one thing I want to show here is our library usage data for circulation. We talk a lot about books and materials and kind of what we're doing, why we're buying them, all those sorts of things. So I want you to see on the left there from 2023 to 24, last fiscal year, we circulated a total of 603,000 materials. This year, up until the end of July, we circulated just under 500,000, so 499,000 there. That's split between physical and digital. And for our room reservations, so we book rooms in all of our branches apart from Floral City. We have community rooms, we have study rooms, various meeting spaces where our patrons can come in and use these rooms for free. So you can see in 2023 to 24, we had 2,300 usage of those rooms, and this year we're just over 2,500, and we're not finished with this fiscal year. And one other thing I want to note with these two items in particular is for the last 2 years, one of our libraries or two of our libraries have been under a state of renovation. And while they've been open to the public, we have limited services in some areas. So there were some times where part of the collection wasn't available at some libraries. We have right now the Coastal Region Library is completely closed, so there are 2 weeks where nobody can access materials at that building. And then it's also the same thing with our community rooms and our meeting spaces. During renovation through the Coastal Region, we limited the number of people that could come in and use our community room because we used that for staging of some of our equipment and things. They were doing renovation. So these numbers are all positive from what I can see, and they're growing. But I just want to let you know that next year, when all the branches are fully operational and everything is where it should be, I expect the numbers to continue to increase because we'll be at full capacity there. And then our program numbers are also increasing. So we're seeing a very large growth in all of our programs between youth and adult. And the chart on the right just shows you kind of our pre-COVID numbers. That's sort of how we were tracking a lot of our things from where we were. We were building each year until we hit about 2020, and then things went a little crazy for a year or so. But you can see that on the graph here, you can see Storytime attendance was just over 4,000 in 2019, and has more than doubled this year. We're close to 10,000 people attending our Storytime. So huge jump there. More parents, more families are getting engaged with our library and coming to Storytime as a regular thing, which is a wonderful thing for us to see. And then I think this is my last one before I dive into the budget piece here, but 543,000 minutes, as Taylor mentioned, as far as logging minutes for summer. We set a very ambitious goal this year, looking at hitting 500,000 minutes, and our community absolutely went above and beyond and went over 40,000 additional minutes there. And that number is from last year's where we were looking at about 350,000 minutes almost. We went up over almost 200,000 minutes. So the community definitely took to that challenge and definitely came out in red. And then we also have Print Copy Scan, which is another thing that we recently launched. And I'm always so impressed with this one. I know it's just pages printed, but we really didn't have this kind of data before. But we can already see that 50,000 pages have been printed with our new wireless printing system. And that's been about just under 8,000 people have used this system, unique users, since we started in April, which shows just the amount of need there is for printing in our community and libraries, that people are able to come and just access this service. So I think that's a wonderful thing.
I've been telling the students at CF about your wireless printing as well, because at the moment we do not have it. So I'm hoping that they're flocking to you.
Yeah. We're definitely seeing a lot of people, and it's also the people that maybe have a printer at home, but it just doesn't want to work. You know, I have that problem all the time where the ink doesn't come out, or the printer needs to print a test page, or whatever it is. So it's meeting a need for a lot of people, and it's just a wonderful thing to see there. Yep. And then you're going to see in the next slide, it's a really short video I wanted to show you because I went over some statistics here, but I also want to show you a video that we found online that somebody had shared about using the library.
Sound will help.
It's giving the words.
We should have sound. Sorry.
It was a good video.
Taylor, you should have an audio controller on your left.
But it's there.
He complimented your books.
I pressed the button.
All right, we'll see if it comes up. If not, I can explain kind of what's happening there, and I'll share the video with you all as well.
Yes. Well, the video's
All right, so in this video, which they're going to work on, but I'll kind of explain kind of what's happening here in this video, is this is a family that was from the Ukraine, and they were in Citrus County for the last couple years. And what they're sharing in this video is that they came, they didn't expect the library to be what it was. They were able to check out materials, attend programs. They describe the library as not just being a structure, not just being a building, but a magical place where they're able to get all these different resources for their family. You know, he references that he sees all different types of people using the library for anything from craft meetings to HOA meetings, things like that. So I will, again, share this video. It's a very good video, I think, to highlight just how much the library means to the community. But it doesn't always show in the numbers that I give you or that Taylor and I kind of share. We talk about 600,000 people have checked out materials, but it's individual families like this that, you know, really find value in our libraries. And I think sometimes we can take those things for granted, but you can see that a family that has come to Citrus County didn't realize all the things we have and how fortunate we are to have our libraries in the way that they exist for us. So, okay. All right. So the next piece of this is our budget presentation and review. So our proposed budget is 5.594085. That's our proposed budget, and last year's budget was just over 5.3. So that is a difference of $228,000. And again, this is a proposed budget. It's not anything set in stone. There was some discussion at our preliminary budget hearing that we're looking at seeing how these numbers will come down. I don't have a clear picture on that quite yet, but I know there's some ongoing discussion with management and budget, with the county administrator, the commissioners, to see where they want to go with this. But for right now, this is what I can tell you is our budget as proposed. So a $228,000 difference. And kind of what makes up our budget, I'm going to go over the highlights with you, and then we can talk about some individual pieces if you have questions. All right. And on this first slide here, it might be a little bit hard to see, but if you have it, it should be, I'm not sure what page it is in your books, but you should
10.
have
I think
page
it's
10.
10. I don't know about in that one, the original one you sent out.
Page 19. All right, so you should have this first page which says 131 libraries.
Yeah, 19.
One of the things I want to mention here is it got said a couple times that the library's budget has increased by $1 million. So I just want to kind of dive into that a little bit and explain where that number comes from and how I can explain where that change is. So if you look at that the first column with a set of numbers there, it says last year actual.
Mm-hmm.
So that is actually 2023, 2024.
That's because that's the last completed year.
Last completed year, yeah, that's 2 years ago.
Right.
So the prior budget is 2024, 25. So that's the second line. And then department request is this year, which goes into 25, 26. I know that's a little confusing without the dates at the top there, but essentially you're looking at 2 years old data there. That first one is 23, 24. And where I believe that number of that million kind of comes from is that very bottom number there at the bottom. You see it's 4.5 is what it's showing there as total overall. And then in 25, 26, that last column, you'll see that it says 5.59. So between those two, that's about $1 million difference. Is everyone kind of on the same page there?
Yep.
Okay. If you look just above that 4.5 million on that first line, you'll see there's two little dash lines with no numbers in there. So that column is showing our last year actual, so our 2023-24 actual. That's the money we actually spent. What's not totaled there is the 5% reserve or the cash carry forward, because we can't spend that money. It's a blank line, it's not even included in there. So there are two numbers missing there, and those numbers are close to $500,000. So we can't spend our 5% reserve, we shouldn't. If we did, then we'd be having a serious budget issue. So you'll not see that reported as spent, but you can see the following 2 years, it's $239,000 and $257,000. So that number is somewhere over $200,000. I don't know if we can zoom in on that. No? That's okay. And then our cash carry forward is part of our reserves as well, but that number also isn't represented there. So I just kind of wanted to clarify that number is last year, that says last year actual, is actual money we spent, but it does not include those reserve pieces. Okay.
Question.
Yes.
Why did the cash carry forward shrink from?
So cash carry forward, it's, our budget for the library is, there are some similarities between other budgets, but it's unique in that cash carry forward is, it's our reserve plus projects that we may not have completed that we've carried to the next year.
Understood. So if it shrinks, we've completed.
We've completed some projects. We had a lot of projects that we got done this last year. Print, copy, scan. We migrated to Microsoft 365. Roofs, yep. Those were large expenses that we have completed, so our cash carry forward, those projects are complete. They're not reserve projects, but they were projects we didn't get done in that window, so we had to move them over.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so one of our big increases here, we've got two increases in our budget that you'll see. One of them is through personnel services. So this increased by $141,000. And what makes up the bulk of this increase is our staff are receiving across the board through the entire county a 2.5% cost of living adjustment. So that is set at the county level. We also have things that are beyond our control with the FICA insurance FICA increase and then life and health insurance increase. Those are increases that we incur as personnel services set by the county. Those aren't numbers that we necessarily control within the library. The one number I do have control over, though, is that casual labor number. So I did add casual labor into the budget. And what this is for is to help with those times where we see a surge of people coming to the library. And it's two times in particular that I will be kind of targeting for this. One is during the kind of the winter when we have the snowbirds come and our population swells from like 170 to like 200,000 people. There's tons of people on the roads. They're using our libraries and our services during that time. So it helps build up capacity there without having permanent positions that we have to fill year round. So there's a savings there. And the other side of this is we do so much during summer. We want to keep growing those programs and services. And the most cost-effective way to do that is to hire some almost seasonal workers to help during that time to help us cover and do more programs, check out more materials, those sorts of things.
Okay.
And then in our proposed staffing, we have a position reclassification that we've requested. And this one is going from an accounting clerk to an accounting clerk 2. It just sort of levels up that position in progression. We have one accounting clerk that handles all of our finances for the library. She does a phenomenal job with this. But what I've seen over the last couple years is her position, she does more than what's in that individual job description. She's doing the work of an accounting clerk 2, especially when we factor in things like renovation. So she's helping manage all of those renovations numbers. Those are over $500,000 that we're adding to our budget that she's tracking, making sure that we're compliant with grants, that we're making sure that things are spent out appropriately. So that's the reclass. And then we have an additional part-time library aide that we're requesting. And we're requesting this position to help bolster our staffing because we have opened additional hours on Saturday over at the Coastal Region Library. And this is a chart of our positions over the years and operating hours over the years historically. So in 2010, the library was kind of at its peak with the number of positions that it had at 66, and the library was open for just over 12,800 hours a year. We had some tough times going into 2018, so you'll see our staffing cut back to 49, but the library was open less than 12,000 hours at that point. So we started to bring some of those hours back. You'll see in 2024, we ended up with 54 positions. But 3 of those positions added by 2024 were actually custodial positions. So they were positions that never existed before. They weren't included in that initial 66. We had another service vendor that would come out and clean the buildings. We actually have dedicated staff now that come and they work our custodial operations in our branches. And then this year, we're going to add probably close to 500 hours of operational time. So we're looking to add 1 additional part-time person. It is the most cost-effective way to make sure we build that capacity. Similar to casual labor, we do need a permanent position there to be able to help manage those additional hours and the growth that we're seeing. So that's the proposal there, to go up 1 additional staff member, but a part-time staff member being, again, the most cost-effective. We currently have 17 part-time staff, 38 full-time, we have 38 full-time staff and 16 part-time staff. We're proposing to add a 17th part-time staff. Again, 3 of those are custodial staff included in that.
What, the hours difference
Yes.
from 2010 to 25, what is that hours difference?
So the library used to be open any number of hours. What we've done over the last couple years, and I'm trying very hard to do, is standardize the hours. So we started this a few years ago where we opened at 9 o'clock, or we used to open at 10, I believe it was 10, and then 4 libraries were open from 10 to 7, or 10 to 9, or 1 was open 10 to 8. Floral City wasn't open on Mondays, but it was open on Saturdays. So right now we have all the libraries are open the exact same number of hours, all the days of the week. It's just 1 standard number, and then Floral City, we don't have hours added back to that one yet. But that's probably the difference, is the Floral City hour.
Will there be, what are we going to look at to change that hours if we're looking at positions? Like extending the amount of hours? Because it closes early Thursday, Friday.
Yes,
Is it Wednesday,
so-
Thursday, and Friday?
Right, we did extend the hours. That's that jump from the 12,200 to 12,700. That's the Saturday hours that we added over at Coastal Region. So it's,
I guess my question, let me rephrase it. With adding more personnel, are we going to make it open equal amount of time eventually so that Monday through Friday, instead of just Monday through Wednesday, have the late
Right.
hours?
at this time, no, that's not something we're planning to do with that additional part-time person. That additional part-time staff doesn't allow us to operate at that level, which would exceed the level that we had in 2010 if we were to do those hours.
And
If we added,
what would we need to do to be able to extend those hours so that we have that all the way across the week?
couldn't give you a number on that right now without really just taking a wild guess, but it would be adding several positions.
Okay.
Because you'd be opening from 9 to 7, 5 days a week. That's additional night coverage. That would add at least 4 hours a week to every branch. So 4 times 52 weeks times 5 would be a considerable number of hours to add, but it would require some additional staff. Because I would say also included in that, I don't want to go too far in.
Right.
But if we're going to take the time to open, we're
Mhm.
not just going to be open just so people can come in. We're going to run programming. So we're going to need different staff. We're going to need a youth librarian that's going to work in the evenings in addition to working the daytime. So we would need to build capacity that way as well. It wouldn't just be, hiring a bunch of part-time staff and saying we can open. We want to make sure that we do it right, and we make sure that we are, providing those services for people. We could have additional night classes and things like that.
Mhm. I know for families, that's one of the things that I've heard quite often. Well, we can go at 6. Oh, wait a minute. Are they open till 6? No, it's Thursday. They're not. So, yeah, so that's good to see that.
It's very
Thank you.
hard to do that, but we're definitely looking at that. I'm always looking at how we can maximize the hours and what we can do there, but a lot of times it does come at a staffing increased cost, which is not the easiest thing to request,
Right.
but that's kind of like I'm doing with the casual labor, is figuring out a way to increase capacity for those times that I know we're very busy without adding permanent positions.
All right, thank you.
Sure. Okay. All right, so I talked about personnel a little bit, and then for our other kind of major pieces of the budget, we have our operating expenses, which did decrease around $3,200. Our capital outlay has decreased $113,000. That's largely due to completing a lot of projects and getting caught up with things that we no longer are behind with. So we're working on making sure that we are keeping everything kind of organized and staying kind of the course for a lot of things. The 2 renovations have helped with that, decreasing capital outlay, because we did a lot of renovation pieces, so we don't need to do a lot of that kind of maintenance and care at this stage. We do need to keep up with it, but those helped quite a bit. And then our last kind of big section, and this is where the other increase is non-operating expenses. So our non-operating expenses are really 2 areas, or kind of broken them down into 2 areas. So we have planned expenses, which is a new thing for us, and then we have expenses for an emergency. Our library in non-operating expenses also includes library reserves, and our reserves equal about 7% of our total budget, which would mean we could run the library for 30 days with those reserves. If we had no money at all, we'd be able to use those reserves and still keep open for those. For reference, the county sits at around, I think it's around 9 or 10%, and they have an operating kind of runway of about 45 days. So we're not quite at the same level of the county. And because our funding is different, we have our own separate millage. We don't really use the general fund for funding of our library that way. Okay. So what we've created this year is a couple things called capital project accounts. And these are areas that I consider expensive that we know are future expenses. So we know these things are gonna come up at some point. What we had been doing over years is we've just been either plugging into the budget and kind of hoping for the best, or we've been eating into reserves to be able to pay for these things. And while it has worked for a while, it's really not the best way, in my opinion and experience, to run an organization, because it just breeds a lot of uncertainty sometimes, and you've got to really balance things and hope for the best. But these accounts would create better long-range planning for us, and it would create some safeguards for our future finances if there's any uncertainties. And what those look like are accounts for building renovation and expansion. So you all know that we just did the renovation of Lakes and Coastal. Those were expensive projects, and those were completed in part by the $300,000 that this board approved, in addition to $300,000 in ARPA grant funding that was received as well. Without that $300,000 match, I don't think we would have completed both of those projects.
Right.
So rather than necessarily waiting for another opportunity like that, which they may not come, we've been talking about renovating both of those libraries since I started here about 10 and a half years ago, and it took getting that ARPA funding to be able to do it. My suggestion is that we build and we put some money aside looking at expansion and renovation. We look for roof replacements, HVAC replacements, our copiers getting replaced, and then fleet replacement as well. These are all things that I know are coming in 3, 5, 10 years, whatever timeline that is, but we'll budget appropriately to make sure that we have funding for those items.
You just want to accrue the cost over time instead of...
Yes, so we don't have large budget spikes. So building renovation, there's $60,000 in this account proposed, and you can see up here, we renovated the Lakes and Coastal Region branch, which are 38 years old, at a cost of around $600,000. Central Ridge Library is 30 years old, so I can already tell you that building needs to be redesigned and it needs some upgrades, but there currently isn't funding to do that. So we need to start looking at how do we put that in place for if we want to wait till it's 38 years old. We've got 8 years to save, and we're doing our fundraising through Booked. We're getting that back going, so we're building up that account. But we also need a little bit of support from making sure that we have that money saved potentially. Same thing with Homosassa and Floral City. They are 18 years old and 16. That may not seem like that long, but it will go by pretty quick. That we'll be 25 years in and be starting to think about, okay, how do we update these buildings?
On the Flossmoor Library that I was a trustee at for 17 years, south side of Chicago, we implemented that about when I first started there. And the money kept going into the reserve account. And when the boiler blew out, it was a big expense, and we didn't have to scramble for the money because we had saved for it. So this is a good accounting process and procedure, and I would say the county would be supporting something like this because, as I understand it, we can't go to the county as our bank county just says live within your means, so this is
Correct.
good business procedure.
Now, this would actually not go into the reserve, though, it'd go into cash carry forward, correct?
It would go into a reserve account, but specifically earmarked for this. It's its own separate line
So
item.
it'd be another line item in addition to the
Yes.
revenue sources here?
Yes,
Okay.
it doesn't increase our overall budget. It keeps within that millage that we have.
Right.
But it just puts that money in these pots that's only for these items. So it would not be something like roof replacement here. If we put money aside for roof replacement, I could not use that money for anything else. It would just be for roof
Right.
replacement. So there's a safeguard in place there that if the money is for HVAC, it has to be used for that. It can't be, okay, now I want to use this for
Operating expenses.
operating expenses,
Couldn't do it
exactly.
for that.
For our roof replacement, estimating about $40,000 a year, or that's what's proposed for this budget. And you can see roof replacement was done in 2025 for Lakes, Coastal was in '21, Central Ridge had a roof coating in 2019, and Homosassa and Floral City, due to their age, they haven't had a roof replaced, but at some point they're going to need that. And there's an expense there that we have to be prepared to keep up with maintenance of our buildings.
If you take a look at your roofs and other things like that, there are amortization, depreciation that will give you an idea as to how much you should set aside, useful life, 20 years, something like that. And
I think the useful life, according to like Florida Insurance, is at now 15.
Yes.
Which we're at, Homosassa is 18 years. So-
Sure, I've calculated that on a 20-year cycle, so it's already behind, but it's a start. It certainly is it gets us something in there to start. So then our next one is our HVAC replacements. So we have 17 units between all branches, and every time one of these goes down, it is not an emergency, but sometimes it can get close to that depending on where it is and what season it is.
Yeah.
But I can tell you these things run between $17,000 and upwards of $40,000 depending on which one it is. Homosassas are very expensive just due to the size of them, and there's only 2 of them there. Well, Central Ridge might have 5 on the top of their roof, but they're still $20,000 units. And it's not easy to find $20,000 mid-year to do that without going through reserves. Copier replacement, this one's kind of a small one, but what we went with this past year is instead of leasing copiers, we've bought our copiers now. It saved us about $13,000 to buy them instead of leasing them. It's the exact same service. We get the same maintenance, we get the same rate, but we own the copiers. But every 5 years, the contract's only good for 5 years. So if we rented them, we'd be replacing them every 5 years through our rental agreement. But since we bought them, we'd replace them every 5 years on that cycle as well. So knowing that that is coming up, just put some money aside there. So in 5 years, it's not a surprise that we need to spend nearly $30,000 on copiers.
I have a question on
Sure.
that.
Yes.
Are these the same copiers and printers that are doing the MyPC system for the wireless?
No,
printer?
these are different. These are for staff. These are
Okay.
staff printers that we have
In the office.
in the
Okay,
offices.
gotcha.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just curious on that. And not to sidetrack, so for that copy, print, scan, is there like a return on investment on that? Are we charging per
We are,
sheet
yes.
of paper? So what does that look like? I'm just curious
Sure.
for the copier machines.
Yep. So I can give you some roundabout numbers, some rough
Uh-huh.
numbers. So roughly, it's probably about $7,000 to run that system a year is what we're paying for maintenance and all the subscriptions and everything for it. It's more than just printing. It also manages all of our PCs, our reservations, how you log into the computer. It does all those pieces. But as far as printing costs, it's 15 cents per page for black and white, and it is 30 cents for color printing, and that's per side. So if you do double-sided, which we have the option for, it'd be 30 cents for black and white. We will definitely recover our costs in that just based on how many we're printing. With some minor challenges there, if the price of toner goes up, that gets more and more expensive. That's one of the most expensive things you can buy is toner for a printer. But we do anticipate that we're going to recover those costs.
Okay.
Yep.
Another question on that for the copier machines. Do we have a contract that falls into that 6,000 that's also providing paper and toner and everything like that, or is that just the replacement of the machines? That's not any contract maintenance that
Sure.
For replenishment of supplies.
So that covers everything except for paper. We purchase paper. We purchase that in bulk by the pallet because it goes to all 5 branches. But everything else is covered in that purchase. Same as the lease would be. We pay X cents per black and white, X cents per color. It's maintenance. They come out and they service it whenever we need.
Okay.
All those pieces are included. Toner is also included. They ship us toner. The nice thing about this system as well is all of our and our public side as well, all of our devices use the same toner. So for some reason there's a delay, we run out in a hurry, we can just have it sent from branch to branch.
Okay.
So there's a lot of convenience built into that. And I do have the number here for you, Riss, the library copy charges. In 2024, we took in just over $20,000 in copy charges. So that gives you an idea of where we might land at the low end. Probably going to be more than that, but it's not making a profit because we are buying toner, we're replacing the printers, we're buying paper, things like that. And it's not really designed to turn a profit for us, but it's at least designed to break even.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. And then our last line there after copy replacement is fleet replacement. I did not budget anything for this amount. I had it in the budget, then I removed it, and it actually went into reserves, just our general reserve. We don't really have a schedule to replace a vehicle at this point. There is in the budget a purchase of a vehicle this year, so because I'm purchasing that vehicle, which we moved up 2 years ahead of where we were going to, there's no reason to start building that account yet. We can wait a year to do that. Okay, does anybody have any questions for me?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
All right, so going back, I tallied up all the numbers, specifically being an IT person. So software as a service, I see that is almost 80,000. One of my questions was, are we going through one provider for this, who's providing a multitude of things, or is this kind of just a, like an à la carte, we're just picking and choosing? I saw one was Bywater.
Yes.
I just want to understand some of these
Sure.
things. I've never seen the names.
So,
for that and what they're actually doing for us.
yes. So yes, it is, to use your term, it's an à la carte kind of system. It's not one vendor. Some of the big ones there that you might have those questions.
Like Bywater?
So Bywater is actually our library's what's called an integrated library system. It's how we check books in and out, how we catalog things. That's what that is. It's actually the software is Koha. It's web-based, but the company that we use that does support and maintenance on it is called Bywater. And it is substantially cheaper than going with some of the larger vendors like CRC Dynex, much cheaper. And there are a lot of libraries that are surrounding us that have it, so we're able to pool our resources a little better and ask those questions. Like Hernando has it, Pasco has it, Marion has it as well. So we're able to, we have a good professional relationship with a lot of these different libraries where we can say, hey, this is something we're seeing, we can get some help, rather than we're all on different systems, because there are, I would say, at least half a dozen different vendors out there that create different services. So there is a benefit to being on the same one as surrounding counties, but part of this is cost, and honestly, the quality that they provide has just been excellent.
Okay. Yeah, the other one is Communico Suite.
So Communico is our calendar. It's our online calendar. It manages our just a digital calendar, and it also does our room reservations as well. So all those community bookings, about 2,500, they're all done through Communico.
Okay. Okay, and then just to shift real quick, I saw it under travel and per diem. Just trying to understand this, the IT firewall security, why is that listed under travel and per diem? Is that for training?
Yes. So one of the things that's very important to us is making sure that our IT department has training opportunities to make sure they're current on the latest things that might be coming up as cyber security issues or trends in technology. And firewall is something that we're looking at updating. So I know that we budgeted that as a training to get one of our 2 IT staff through an IT course in firewall training.
Okay.
And then that will probably shift in future years to other custom trainings. There's money in there, so we have our IT department make sure they're continuously getting trained on the latest things, because we manage and we house a lot of data, a lot of patron data. We have over nearly 60,000 library cards, which is 60,000 people's data. So we want to make sure that we're being responsive to that, and we keep everything as safe and locked down as we can. We also have a lot of public computers. We want to make sure they're safe and they're updated, and they're, we're following the best practices that we can.
Okay. Sorry, and I'm mostly looking at the IT stuff.
Sure.
And the maintenance stuff. I see, so like computer maintenance, I see telephone and data maintenance. I saw this one, reboot, restore PC.
Yes.
Management. I'm just curious if, for some of these things, especially for maintenance, I know you said we had 2 staff members that are in the IT realm for this.
Yes.
Just kind of wondering why those were put off to the side like that. Are they also managing the ISP connection coming in, everything from there?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
so you kind of just broke it down a little bit more.
Right, yes.
On what they're actually working. Okay.
Yep, and then I can tell you the Reboot Restore is for maintaining all of our public computers. They restore to whatever state that we have them in. That way, if you go on one of our public computers, you use it for an hour, it restarts, and it's like you've never used it. So it doesn't retain any personal information of a patron. There's a lot of privacy wrapped in that. Our library's IT manage well over probably 150 computers throughout our library system. It's two of them that work through this, so we give them whatever tools we can to maximize their efficiency in a lot of cases. So things like Reboot Restore save them a lot of time. They can re-image things a little bit quicker as well. We do try to maximize, again, efficiency with like the wireless printing. That saves a lot of staff time, but it's a modern convenience. Taylor mentioned Patron Point, where we now have digital cards. So that sped up some service. It gives instant access to the public, but it takes some load off staff as well. Any other budget questions?
I'd like to comment on the library books publications line. It's on page 23 of the materials that I have.
Okay.
And it's the 322,000 and change. If you
Sure.
take that and divide it by the almost 6 million, that gets around 5.7%. When I checked with the people in Flossmoor, south side of Chicago suburb, those people were talking about 8 to 10% of the total budget should really be allocated to books, publications, et cetera. So we probably have some economies of scale because the Flossmoor is just one building. We have 5, and as you talked about before, we can circulate around. But we're in the book business, and if we don't have stuff on our shelves, whether it's digital or otherwise, then we're kind of out of business. And so there's been some comments about, is 322 too much? And I would suggest to you that we might be running a little lean on that.
Sure. If I could speak to that briefly, yes. I would agree with you that books are something that we want to make sure that we make available and we have in abundance for people. One of the things that's difficult with the book budget is making sure that we don't increase to a point where we can't handle the influx of materials coming in. But I can tell you that material cost of books, so they are going up, but I can tell you the cost of a print book versus a digital book is double, if not triple in some cases. So we're paying, let's say, $25 for a hardback book. We might be paying almost $60 for a digital copy of that same book.
Wow.
But the number of people that are asking for digital is, every day I'm getting a message about we need more digital. I wish we had more digital.
You mentioned previously that a wait for a book would be 5 or 6 people versus 18 people.
Yes.
For a digital copy.
Yep. And that's just due to cost, and also it's due to not wanting to pull away those physical materials from people that are coming in, because we do have a population that really supports physical materials, that they want those books in their hands. It's also due to a lot of our children's materials. That's not necessarily always it's not gonna shift to the digital kind of environment. We're gonna keep a lot of print books on hand because that is a way that a lot of kids engage with materials. They get some off screens. So yes, the wait is about 18 to 1 for an item that's on hold.
There was another comment that Lenora made about staffing and things like that. Could we have more hours that were open? Comparing to what I came from, we ran about 70% for payroll cost of the total budget. And if you take a look this year, what you had was material increases in health insurance and the FICA, and yet we're running, based on the numbers that you're proposing, about 63%. So to me, that shows a lot of efficiency in staffing, et cetera, that the management team should be commended on.
Thank you. Yes, we did, like I mentioned, those different efficiencies with the print copy scan, with Patron Point, with all these different services. Some of the IT software is helping to take some of that load off of our staff so they can do more public service. We don't really look at adding more administrative, but we do look at adding more for the public side of things. And then You did mention about the 7% for our budget for materials. Surrounding counties are probably in the 9 to 10 range. That's your Pasco, Marion, Hernando. I don't have Sumter's data, but
If I said 7, it's really 8 to 10% up in the Chicagoland area. And we're running 5.7, so if the other counties are running 9, we're still pretty lean, and we're in the book business. So
Yes.
anyway, that's it.
Mr. Chang, just a question, and on, Mr. Campbell mentioned software as a service, and I'm just looking on page 22, 4 of the budget. It says, for 24 through 25 projected, it had $500. And then, then for 24 to 25, total projected, 47,243. Where is the deficiency between those, the difference between those two?
all right. So you said, can you give me that line item again? Sorry.
Yeah, software as a service.
Okay.
You have 500 under 24 through 25 projected. Then it went to 47,243, and then of course we've jumped to 79,620. I imagine some of that is because of the changes with the printer. But
Yes, what's happened with that is these accounts are always shifting in our budget. It's done a lot of times through our management and budget. They find ways that make more sense to how they're accounting for things. So things that were considered software as a service last year, they were already in the budget, but they weren't in that account.
Okay, so they just moved them
So
around.
they moved it. It's the same number. You'll see some of the accounts have
That makes a lot of sense.
gone down. Like software maintenance support, if you look at that line,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was, let's see, that's now 28,000. It went from 94 to 28.
Same with office non-cap equipment.
Yes, so some of those, they just shift them in different pots that make sense because it's kind of like we're having this discussion now where somebody says, what is Bywater? And I explain that, okay, it's this. So they say that no longer qualifies as X, now it is a software as a service. So they shift it in that pot, even though it's not costing us anymore, but you'll see that spike there. But the number stays roughly the same with,
Thank you for explaining that, because those were the questions that I had. That's a big difference. Like, how did that, but you don't see it at the bottom, so it's like it doesn't make sense. So thank you for explaining that.
I understand it. I don't like it.
Well, and that goes on to another question I had with because I just looked it up. So about per facility, we're paying, I would say $1,100 for IT, for the voice data services, right? Per facility. That's including like Zoom, the telephone, everything like that. Is the telephone going to be a regular landline, or is it going to be VoIP, voice over IP?
So it's all voice over IP.
Okay, so I'm curious on that. I see data services there as under phone, and it's $15,500, but then we still have telephone for each of these. So I'm just curious why is it being listed multiple times if the phone services are falling under, I guess, would be guessing Spectrum?
Yes, so some of our phone services that we do have, it's not just like a standard phone line, it's also fax.
Okay, so we still have landline then?
Yes, sorry, yes.
Yeah.
It's more for, we have a landline, but not really in the traditional sense that I'm gonna pick up a landline and use it.
Right.
It's connected to like our postage meter, printers to do faxing, things like that.
Okay.
So we do have a landline that goes, then we also have landlines for our fire panels as well.
Yeah, for the fire panels you have to have that. I
so
understand that.
we have those,
Yeah.
but it's not the traditional, like, that's what I was thinking when we were talking landlines, is that
Okay.
it's, a phone. Yes, Mariela, I know you had a question.
I've got a budget question about the hot button topic right now.
Okay.
For $3,300, how many copies do we get?
Yeah, that's what I was asking too.
So we get 6,000. So it's 500 a month. What that equals is about 100 per branch.
Okay, and of the 100 per branch, how many are thrown away when the new ones come in?
So none are thrown away. I would say that we balance it because there's never a perfect kind of science to this so we have Central Ridge, which is our busiest location. And then we have Floral City, which is our smallest location. So Floral City might only get 50 copies, whereas Central Ridge will get 150 to start with.
Right.
There's probably close to a 90% utilization rate on them for that month. So about 90% of them go out month one, but we can keep additional issues for if people want. They don't necessarily, it doesn't expire. so to speak. So you may want
Yeah.
last year's issue. If we have any left, they go to outreaches and things like that. So we use all of them. None of them get discarded. But
Okay.
about 90% of them are taken in that month at least.
Okay. And that number, to restate what you just said, is consumed at each of the branches?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. More so at some of the other branches, like Central Ridge will typically run out of these. And then what staff do is they call around to other branches and say, hey, I'm out of book pages,
Right.
you have more. And
Okay.
if Floral City hasn't gone through as many, they'll send them over. Or in the case of Coastal, where it's been closed, it'll be closed for 2 weeks. They may not run through as many as they normally would.
Got it.
So those will get reallocated to other branches.
Thank you.
I'm glad to hear you ask that question too, because people kept saying 50 copies. That would only be 250 copies for our whole, and how would we be spending $13 per copy to give away for free? That doesn't make any
Right.
sense,
It-
so
it is
thank you for the
6,000.
clarification.
Anybody
Any other
have any
questions? All right. So,
So if I can add one more thing, Chair?
Yes.
So I don't want to leave this discussion about budget without talking about if there is any kind of
Yeah.
options to
So-
do a decrease. So if there is any kind of decrease, my preferred method for this, or what I would propose, is that it comes out of reserve and not operating. So it would, if we have any sort of decrease, we'd look at lowering our reserve.
okay, so just a couple things, real quick before we get into where we entertain a motion. The first thing is that your entire increase was, which was $238,000.
228.
228, sorry, is within the amount that was adjusted based upon property value, because the library budget comes with its own millage rate.
Yes,
Okay, so it's nothing in addition above that, correct?
correct.
And you detailed exactly what, so you did move around some stuff. You reclassified some things, decreased the budget in certain places, and you explained that, I feel, pretty well. Obviously, 2.5% increase for, across the board, just to adjust for inflation. I mean, that's a cost of living raise that, I believe that library staff definitely deserve. If we were honest, they probably deserve more, but in certain cases, but I believe that was probably manageable. In addition, the difference, the $1 million thing that was out there, and full disclosure, when I talked to Adam, because I called Adam about the budget beforehand, I think that's just a good idea, right? I don't want to make him look like a goofball, and I don't want to make myself look ignorant at all, and I do a good enough job of doing that without trying. I was, okay, why are we asking for $1 million more than we spent? And the truth of the matter is that was not representative of the facts. The facts were that, number one, we haven't closed out prior year budget, correct?
Current year, we're still in
Current year
current.
budget, right. We haven't closed that out. That still has August and September?
Yes.
Yes. So, that was 2 years technically ago. In addition, there's not I didn't see a massive increase on book purchases, and as far as the budget outlined for purchasing books and all of the other services that are provided in that, I would imagine that books cost more than they did 2 years ago, 3 years ago. You probably could speak to that better than I could, for sure. But I would imagine it's like anything else, they probably cost more. So I don't see any ridiculous request in this budget, as far as I can tell. Now, that does go to the other question, as we say, okay, well, how much is too much, right? Just so everyone is aware, and I don't mean to carry water for any of the county commissioners. They're adults, they can do that on their own. But the majority of the increases that we're seeing in these budgets are just based on property value increases, which I don't think anyone can argue that property values have went up. We can argue as to whether they're fair or not, but they have went up. So in reality, the onus is on the county commission as to whether they want to reduce the millage rate for the library or not. Because what you're asking, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're not even asking for the total amount that the millage rate would have raised. Is that correct?
The total amount is in there, but it's going into reserves. So we're
Correct.
not spending it, it's going into those reserve accounts, which do help us in the event of any kind of
Natural disaster,
issue. Yes.
God forbid, COVID.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
So clarification on that. So the reserve would be, say for instance, that $20,000 for the vehicle replacement.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
So that's in the event
The
that you had a
roofs.
breakdown or whatever else happened to where that vehicle did need to get replaced.
Right.
Not necessarily going to be used.
Yes and no. So I guess HVAC is an easier example if I can use that one.
Mm-hmm.
So if an AC breaks, then I have money to replace it outright. If a vehicle were to break, same thing, I'd have money to replace it if it needed to be replaced.
Okay.
But for the vehicle, it's a little bit different in the sense that I'm anticipating that a vehicle might need to be replaced every 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm keeping that vehicle for 10 years or however many miles it has before it is deemed to be replaced. And with that money, it's sort of putting enough in there to be able to replace that vehicle. It's not the maintenance of it, it's the replacement
actual
when
replacement, yeah.
when that 10 years is up or 15 or whatever year that the county sets that I can build that
Okay.
replacement.
Thanks
So-
for that. Thanks for that clarification.
And then, I don't know. Anybody else have any questions real quick? All right, so here's how this goes. So we have to have a motion as to whether we accept the budget as proposed, or a motion to, strike line items, whatever the case is. Understand this, and this is something that must be reiterated, is that we're an advisory board. So whatever we come to must go before the county commission, and they make the decision. Does that make sense? So completely the onus is on the county commission. However, that being said, whatever decision we make, they may or may not shoot down. They traditionally do not shoot down the request of the Library Advisory Board, but anything can happen. So knowing that, when we do our motion, we're advising, okay? If we were to say we are advising X, Y, Z. Does that make sense? So that being said, do I have any motion, anyone would like to entertain a motion as to whether to accept the budget as is or to make corrections, to adjust, whatever the case is?
I move that budget be accepted as is.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, now we must open up for public input. Then we will entertain a discussion for the board itself, and then we will come to a vote. That being said, I make a motion that we limit all speeches to 90 seconds, and we have a balance of speeches for, I'm sorry?
I don't know if I can go 90 seconds. I think it's minutes.
I believe in you. Okay, so, all right, so I'll make a motion that we limit all speeches to 2 minutes and a balance of speeches 3 for and 3 against. Do I have a second on that?
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye. All right, the motion carries. So all speeches will be and must pertain to the budget. When you get up here, you'll have 2 minutes to speak your piece, and what you will do is you will state as to whether you are for or against the motion that has been presented. If that makes sense. Okay?
Could you
We-
clarify what the motion is for everyone in the room?
Yes, that is a good point. Thank you so much. The clarification of that is the motion is to present the budget or advise on the budget as presented to the county commission, okay? That being said, when you get up here, remember you have 2 minutes, please. No public comment as the person up here is speaking, maintain decorum. A suggestion was made, and it's a good suggestion. Pay attention to the little clock there. That tells you what you got going left. Once you see yellow on the light, it's a pretty good idea to start winding it up, okay? All right. Do we have anybody that would like to speak? Come on down, anybody. And if you already have a card, you don't need to fill out another card.
Good morning, Library Advisory Board. My name is John Labriola with the Christian. Oh, sorry. My name is John Labriola. I'm with the. I'm an Inverness, and I wanted to just comment on this specific
For or
point.
against the motion?
I'm against the motion because I believe that the library budget is the one budget that can be cut. As you may have heard in the recent budget hearing that the county had, they don't want to cut anything else because they want to use any savings towards road resurfacing. So this is the one area that we can cut, and we can give a little bit of relief to the owners. Now, as you may have heard, the fire charge is going up, everything is going up, and I understand that keeping the tax rate the same will still mean that things go down because of inflation. But we can make, I trust that this board can, and this county can make the necessary cuts just to adopt the rollback rate. So I would strongly suggest that you change the motion to adopt the rollback rate, which means that everything is kept the same as it is this year. And then just quickly on the other point, it was mentioned that the book page thing is going to go into review. Now, the way, whenever any material goes into review, it means it's taken off the shelf. So my question would be, and you can answer this later, is the book page magazine going to be suspended while this review takes place so that the budget next year does not go into effect with regard to that particular item? And so I would suggest that we do not, go ahead and allow the book page subscription to go forward if it's under review, because 1,000 copies continuing throughout however many months is just not appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Tim Gilbert, Inverness. I'm for it. I think keeping the millage at the same is a smart fiscal decision. I don't think we need to cut just to cut because someone thinks something's gay. That's just inappropriate and weird. So let's keep on top of the budget. I'm a little concerned about the IT discussions that were had today. You have a member of the IT community on your board, but yet we didn't talk about child safety once. Once again, this is the third time I've talked about child safety with internet security here at the library and has not been addressed. We have shown more attention to situations like the one behind me than actually protecting children. So I think the budget's great. Thank you.
All right. Do we have anyone else? One more guy. Please state whether you're for or against the motion as presented.
You know what? I'd just like to say I trust the board, okay? I would like to see it cut from what John said.
I apologize.
Yeah.
For or against?
You have to be one or the other.
I have to be one or the other.
I know.
Okay, so I'm just going to say I'm kind of against. I'd
Kind of
like
against.
to see savings in this county from all facets of it. And John's right. The $200 is going to affect, rental properties. It's going to be very expensive for us. But okay, so in saying that, I just want to say one more about the publication. I know I said $3,300 would be a good thing to cut. I also was a businessman. So I know it's next to nothing compared to the full budget. Penny found is a penny earned. Or maybe it's $100 now, it's found $100 is earned. This is not a Christian versus them issue, and that's what it turned out to be. I mentioned earlier that the woke agenda has done nothing but harm our children, and that's true. You can look it up. Everybody here should look it up. And guess what? It's getting rolled back nationwide. Why? Because this country is important. The children in this country are important. They don't need to be indoctrinated with climate change and sex change and all this kind of stuff. It's wrong. Anyway, thank you for everything. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Keep the comment to yourself. Thank you. All right. Next. For or against, and your name, and where are you from?
Hey, I'm from Floral City, and my name is Gordon Meyer, and I'm for it. And really, I got to tell you, I was like ultra impressed with you. I mean, I'm not supposed to do that, I know, but I'm just saying, this thing to me seems so tight and really so lean. I would kind of lean on what you were talking about in that it's almost too tight. So I don't see how I'd cut anything, especially the cap expenses. It just seems like that's I don't know how you can figure out how much a roof's going to be in 3 years or something. So I think I've seen an amazing presentation with amazing detail, and that's why I'm for it.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else? Please state name, where you're from, and whether you are for or against.
Robin Orlandi, Dunellen, in the Citrus County side, and I am for the motion. I think we saw in Adam's excellent budget presentation, operating expense decreased by $3,200 as a savings, extreme efficiency. There's the cost of book page if you want to talk about what's worth or not worth. In the presentation, the planning for future cost and resiliency, prudent fiscal management, return on investment, all the things you look for in competent staff and good fiscal management have been presented today. I commend the staff on their efficiencies. There's a lot of work in our libraries. They're very busy. And to be able to do it on this budget, which, as Mr. Bramlett commented, is under comparable library budgets in other states, including what I experienced in Wisconsin. I think that you have a dynamo here that needs to be protected and preserved. And again, the millage rates go up with property valuations across the county. The cost of everything is increasing, and as all other services, fire, police, public works increase, library services are just as critical as those. You know, in most all the time, we need library services. In emergencies, we need fire, police. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate all of you for sitting and listening to this very long day today. And I trust that you'll make the right decision. And I trust our library staff going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. All right, so for the balance of speeches, we have 3 for and 2 against. Do we have another speaker that would like to speak against? Seeing there are no speakers, we will shut down open to public. Okay. All right, so we've heard from the public. Now's the part where we go into discussion. So as far, I would argue that, you know, taxes are continually going up. And just so we're clear, it is against the law per se, without some state statute or even county ordinance, to be able to take from the millage rate or the library budget and take that money and use it for road resurfacing. So there is no way that if we cut the budget today that that's going to help road resurfacing. One could argue that you could decrease the millage rate of the library budget or the millage rate, and then you would have to raise the millage rate of the standard millage rate to be able to use that fund to help with road resurfacing. So just from a common sense approach to that, number one, that's not going to be politically expedient for the county commissioners to do that. So it's not going to help the road resurfacing no matter what. Now, number two is, yes, would that help the taxpayer? I would say that, you know, okay, I get that. If you look at the overall, the way the millage rate works out, and understand this is just a basic average, this is not totally representative of the truth. I say that fully, you understand that, because certain people pay more than others because of the value of their home. The value of my home is like $175,000, just to give you. So I would not be paying as much as someone who has a home sitting on Kings Bay, where their home is valued at $700,000 or $1 million or $2 million, whatever the case is. However, if you take just basically that number and you divide it up, it's somewhere, and correct me if I'm wrong, Director Chang, you would know this number better, somewhere between $40 to $50 per taxpayer. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So when you talk about that $40 to $50 per taxpayer, if we cut the entire budget, like canceled the budget today and said, you know what, no more libraries, we've saved the taxpayer $40 to $50. And I think no one in this room could say that that was a good idea. Okay, so when we do all of these things, we understand these things, we need to know the full truth of the matter. I'm as fiscally conservative as the next guy, okay? The truth of the matter is I'm not going to go on total record and get in trouble and not get appointed again. But there are other ways we can do this. Does that make sense? Yes. All right? There are other ways we can do this. So for me personally, I'm going to support this budget as presented. Do I have things in here that I, say, okay, well, that doesn't make sense there or whatever? Absolutely. But what we can say is we can say over the past history of the library, they have maintained under budget. In addition, they have maintained being able to save money. And I'll just tell you this, I'm a big Dave Ramsey guy. 3 months operating expenses is actually what you want to save. So we're only 30 days, and and that's a good thing. I'm glad. But 3 months is the actual number you want to save of your operating expense. You fill the barrel and you never have to scrape the bottom of the barrel, right? You just dip from the top and refill it. That's kind of the principle. So anyways, I will support this budget as presented. Anybody else? No discussion?
I do have,
Yes.
I would like to address the budget in the sense that, especially from what the gentleman was saying about the cybersecurity end, I do see things here. I'm going to ask you to get some more info on them. There are resources that I found out about within the last week or two that my employer is trying to do more community outreach. Free services, talking about cybersecurity for the young, the old, everything like that, best practices. So that's something I would like to let you know about. That way we can let your IT folks research it, and I can give contact information and such for that. I do think that, especially with some of the IT services, it can get very costly very quickly. The price of things have gone up. There's a lot of stuff that goes into that, so that's near and dear to my heart. And I do think that we might want to look at what are their options to going through. Are there other options that we can look at? And I think that's something, depending on what the contract is that you have, depending on for those services, we need to make sure that we're getting the best bang for our buck. Because at the end of the day, a lot of these companies, they can only provide you a little bit, and you're not expounding on that. So if that's something that I could take a look at, if you have questions about, I definitely want to make sure. And when it comes to that security, we need to make sure that our networks are secure. We don't have people going and looking up things that are illicit on their personal phones connected to the Wi-Fi and or on PCs. And I think that I'm hearing from the gentleman, and I have concerns for my own kid. So, let's take a look at that. I'll talk to you later on that.
I want to add, I also side and empathize with the staff as well, as far as inappropriate usage of computers, because the staff have to handle that security aspect. And so for their sake as well, I think it'd be a great idea.
Yes.
So, Chair, if I can
Yes.
comment on this, as the gentleman asked about security, we have, since we had a question about that, I think it was over a year ago now, we did immediately turn around and look at our system. We did purchase some additional software as part of one of our vendors to make sure that we increased our efforts to make sure things were safer. We've tested and tested again to see if we could pull up or find any issues, and we hadn't found any with that. But I'd be more than happy to talk to you more about it. But we certainly have made sure that our computers are safe, our internet access is limited and restricted.
People are smart.
And they are, that's part of the challenge too. They're always going to try to find a way.
13-year-olds are smart.
Oh,
Yes.
I'll say this. I was that kid in high school that, I wasn't looking at anything illicit. I just wanted to get on Facebook because 2008, when it came out, that was the coolest thing. My school blocked it, but I found a way by it. So even they asked me, the IT guys for the school district down in Hillsborough, how did you do that? I'm not telling you. But I'm just saying, as a younger gentleman at that time, there were things that, I knew about, that I could get past stuff. And as a network security guy, I want to make sure that I pass that information along because we are in a digital age and I do want to secure that for our youth. And I want to make sure our dollars are being spent correctly, when it comes to our IT side on that too. I know you said you're replacing firewalls. Well, let's make sure that we're getting a contract that if that firewall is compromised, how is that going to be handled?
Sure. Yes, a lot of that we done in conjunction with the county.
Okay.
When we do that, so it's not just library IT operating on their own. It's a county-wide.
Thank you for that explanation.
Initiative that we're doing that. Our IT staff are responsible for it, but it's going to be compatible in the same or similar equipment as what the county is using. So there is that level of support.
Okay. Thank you. I'll talk to you later on that.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's why you're on this board, Mr. Campbell.
Justin?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
You had mentioned before about the track record of savings that the library has. So with that in mind, if we pass the budget, it doesn't necessarily mean that every line item is going to be spent.
That is correct.
So just for food for thought.
That is correct.
So what you're saying then, thank you for that clarification, is that just because we approve this doesn't mean that everything that's on there
Right.
is going to happen, or it could be changed in moderation and with agreement to whatever. So this magazine that we're talking about today, if we approve the budget as is, then that's just another item that we look at to decide what we're
Correct.
going to do about.
That is correct.
In advisory position.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you for the
Thank you for
clarification.
expressing my thoughts so clearly.
My wife does that. All right. Everyone good? You ready to vote? All right, all in favor? The motion as presented is to accept the budget as presented and advise the county commission in that capacity. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing there's none opposed, the motion carries. All right. Thank you, Miss Edith. You are excused.
I have to go teach a class.
You gotta leave too? All right, are we gonna have a quorum? Let's see. We need 5.
Can I make a motion that the old business be
Tabled?
moved and tabled to the next meeting, since we are past that time slot?
And absolutely, you can make that
And people
motion.
have to go to work?
You can absolutely make that motion. Okay, and this is old business, so that would be G1, review guidelines for materials under reconsideration form. Okay, I think that's probably a good idea, but you made a motion. Do we have a second? We have a second. All in favor? Aye. All right, motion carries. G1 will be moved to next month's item, stay on old business. All right, we still have new business here, which most of it can be tabled.
We can get through a lot of it real quick.
Yeah.
Maybe 10
Okay.
minutes of discussion here.
All right.
If you have those
I'm good with that, and that way we can just get it done?
Sure.
Absolutely. So, is everyone okay with continuing on? Even if Mr. Bramlett leaves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we have a quorum, so you can leave, Mr. Bramlett. I'm sorry?
I got about 2 minutes.
Well, let's see what we can do, Mr. Bramlett. All right? All right, so new business. These are just simple items. So we have date change requests for December 2025 meeting. These don't necessarily need a motion necessarily. They just, kind of need consensus. So, all right.
So I'm proposing that we change the meeting date from December 9th to December 16th, just because I will not be here on the 9th. If you can hold it without me if you want, I think. I'm not sure how that works, but I would be
Is
unavailable.
it possible to do a date earlier than the 16th?
I could look and bring that back.
Yeah,
Or I can put it out as far as an email to you all, and then we can get clarification on what's available, and then when we come back in October, we can decide.
Okay.
Yeah.
If that works, I think
Yeah,
we can
because
do
I
that.
think the 16th is just approaching that time kids are off school and all that too.
Sure.
So I think that would be a good idea.
Yep. Okay.
Well, my kids would love to be here. 2026 meeting dates. So you're going to come back with some other dates? Or
We have.
one?
Yes,
All right,
for the
so
December.
we have the upcoming meeting dates. We did, and Janet brought this
Yes.
up.
14.
Last year, we talked about this as far as, what page, 14?
14.
We talked about having a few dates that would be towards the evening time. That way that, this is not on that right there as far as the times are concerned. But we did say so that people could have opportunities who work to come and speak. At that time when we talked, there was definitely a general consensus in the public for that. So when we look at these dates, the only thing that I would say is maybe we might want to think about two of those dates, because that's kind of the number we talked about, two of those dates being, 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock or whatever the case is. And I know I'm not even going to look at library staff right now. But what say you all?
Agreed.
Anybody have any suggestions?
Do you want to move 2 days to 3 o'clock? 2 Wednesdays?
Well, I would say probably 4 o'clock, right? So it's after school is, yeah.
Elementary school teachers aren't dismissed till 4.
Who cares? No, I'm just kidding. That's a joke. Oh my gosh. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so 5. I'm okay with 5.
I would say that, and not just for me, but Tuesdays are heavy sports days also, so Mondays might be better.
Well, so let's talk about that. So what if we went like with one of the months that maybe out of season? I realize sports run year round,
June,
but
probably June and yeah, I agree. I'm sorry, I'm hearing from
June and December?
June and December. Yep.
What do y'all think?
I have a thought. Instead of changing 2 days, why don't we try 1 day and see how it works? And then if it's a real killer that it's so successful, then the next year we can expand to 2 days.
Agreed.
I
I think that would probably work better because June being kids are out of school and everything else, probably the evening would be easier
Okay.
for folks. So June, I would suggest June 23rd.
What do y'all say?
That's fine.
Everybody good with that?
Yeah.
All right.
And the time, well,
5 o'clock?
5
Well,
p.m.
also, don't we have to find out if the room's available?
Yes.
Well, yeah, but
I'll take care of that.
yeah, we'll be all right. It's June.
We're a year ahead of time.
We think 5?
And
Yeah, I
that
think
would be for June?
for June.
Yep. I can let you know if the room's available, and if not,
Okay.
I can give you some alternate dates that we can bring back to
Okay.
October's meeting. if
All
you'd
right,
like.
other than that, I think all of these dates work for me. Anybody else?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, there's always flexibility to change them if we need to.
Yes.
All right, okay? All right, booked 2026 presentation.
All right.
Who's
so
doing this?
This one is mine.
All right,
So real quick on Booked. So Bob was going to help me give a little bit of this presentation, but basically.
he ditched you.
Yep, he did. After a couple hours. So Bob is chairing the committee once again. We've already formed our committee and we're ready to go, and we're building on the success of kind of what we started with last year. We set a fundraising goal of $30,000 this year. We raised $22,000 the year before, so this year we're aiming for $30,000. The event will be held over at the Coastal Region Library with the idea of highlighting all the changes that we've made over there and really spotlighting the Crystal River community. February 28th from 6 to 8:30. And you should have a breakdown of the budget in front of you as well of what we spent last year and what we made last year. So it has revenue minus expenses, so our net was the 22. And basically the other part with Booked is we're just getting started with it, but we do need to talk about issuing some funding for this so then we can put some expenses against that, and then we'll be able to work through planning and preparing this. So my request on behalf of the committee was requesting that the board approve a $13,000 expense, or $13,000 from the Library Foundation account to be used only for the Booked 2026 event. So $13,000. Last year we spent just over $8,200, but I can tell you there's been a lot more interest and a lot more excitement about this one. I know Bob is already starting to to get some feelers out there to see who's interested in coming. We have the potential challenge of catering, the price of food going up. We want to make sure we safeguard for that, as well as we're planning, hopefully with some success, to sell more tickets this year, which will increase our overhead cost of food. One of the things that we're trying this year is we're going to have both physical and online ticket sales. So we're going to expand that option and open up to have online sales as well. So we're expecting that that will bring in additional people as well, because they can just buy their tickets at that point instead of having to have cash or come into the library.
So you're making a formal request for a motion?
Yes.
Okay, and what is the exact amount you're looking for?
13,000, and the wording is very specific. It's in the agenda item. So my request would be.
What page is that?
Page 15.
Okay.
It's in the brief overview. That would be my request for a motion. So they're requesting $13,000 in funds from Library Foundation for the restricted purpose of use on Book 2026 fundraiser.
Okay. All right, so this one, it is the chair's opinion that we'll actually have to open up for public once we have the motion. So Debbie, come have a seat. All right, so I make a motion to approve the request for $13,000 in funds from the Library Foundation for the restricted purpose of use on Book 2026 fundraiser. Everyone can look on page 16. You can see the amount of assets that are in the U.S. Family Foundation. So we're not writing a blank or a rubber check. Anyways, and so I make the motion clearly to approve the request for $13,000 in funds from Library Foundation for the restricted purpose of use on booked 2026 fundraiser. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, now we must open up for public input. I make a motion, limit all speeches to 2 minutes, and 3 for, 3 against. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, or any opposed? All right, motion carries. So, all right, we're opening up to open to public. Man, we are going to get so much screen time today. Okay, so here's the thing. You heard the motion as presented to approve $13,000 from the U.S. Family Foundation for the booked event for 2026. Just a clarification for everybody in the audience. This money is used to purchase all the food, all the stuff, and then we netted $22,000 last year or this year.
Yes.
Okay, so that was above what we did with 10 grand. Not a bad investment. So, anyways, if you would like to speak, you can come on up, speak, name, where you're from, for or against the motion as presented. If you don't have a card filled out, I doubt that, but if you don't have a card filled out, please fill one out, and we'll go from there. Anybody? No takers. 1, 2, 3, public comment closed. All right. Yeah. Don't go too far, Debbie.
Think of it as exercise.
All right. So, any board discussion on the motion as presented?
It was very good.
Everybody good? All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. We already did H4. Okay. Any board member updates? You guys don't have anything to say? All right. I don't blame you. All right, so next meeting is October the 28th at 9 a.m. right here. Be there or be square. All right.
I have a question, Chair, before you.
Yes, sir.
End the meeting. So going back to book page, there was a mention of running it through that process.
Yes.
Do you want that back for the October? What
So here's the thing.
what are we
So
doing with that?
we want to run that as we would run that. So no, and if anybody has any, suggestions on that, otherwise. So how we normally do the review process, you can take it from the chair requested it, whatever. Run it through library staff. You guys,
So, if I mean, what is the request for reconsideration for that? What what am I looking as far as the criteria to do anything with this item?
Okay, so what was stated was that it, number one, caters to one particular point of view, that it doesn't represent the general body. 3, that the money, basically the value doesn't represent the amount that we're spending.
Okay.
Is there anything else anybody would like to say?
Well, to comment with that, I think if we have book page in the libraries, I feel we should also have something that caters to both sides. If we decide, and here's the thing, if we go through a review process and it's decided to be kept, then there's other resources, say for instance, like the one lady said, there's the Christian magazine. Why can't that be there? If we're going to have one side of the house, we need to have both sides for equality.
And
in
I agree
what we
with
have.
that.
So I think that, and that's kind of, I just want to make sure that that's pointed out, because I don't agree with everything, which that's normal, like we discussed, but we need to be able to have both sides if
Right.
that's going to be there, and those resources need to be available for everybody if that's going to be the case.
So point taken, I would agree with that. I think right now we're at the initial phase of, let's just review this first, and
I
then
agree.
we go from whatever afterwards. So point is that's basically the parameters. We want to make sure, okay, number one, it was mentioned that it's easily accessible for anyone. So is this something that should not be placed where anyone can grab it?
Let it be requested.
Right, or should it be requested? So those are kind of all the things to go in there. So you guys review it. My suspicion, here's where I'm thinking on this, is that in that time that it takes you guys to review it, we can nail down in the next meeting our review process, and then immediately use our review process to review after yours. Does that make sense?
That does, yes.
Okay.
So, one more clarification. You mentioned multiple issues, so I'm going back, what, 3
Yeah,
months?
so
How many months would you like me to capture?
my opinion would be 3 months,
Perfect.
90 days. That makes sense?
Okay, and I'll write up the parameters kind of you gave me, and if it's okay with the board, if I just run it by the chair to make sure that I captured what he was looking for the review?
Right.
Yes. Can I also make a comment? Since this is what is proposed in our packet, why don't we use what is proposed to do this first one before we nail down what we're actually going to do? It might give us a working, in progress feel if this would actually do what we're looking to do. The draft, yes. Go ahead during the time before the next meeting, and the board use the draft to preview the material to see if this is going to work. Because this is something we're setting as a precedence. So I want us to get it right. That's why I automatically put it to the next month. It's something that we need to set as a precedence, and we're going to have to work it out. It's not just a one and done process.
Yeah, there's one thing that I wanted to add with one of the questions was, can the material that we're reviewing, can it be read publicly in front of others? So like at the board meeting, can someone bring this book and read verbatim from that book? And that would be a yes or no. If it's not something that can be publicly read, I feel like that's a question that it should be answered. Like if it's something that would just be so disgusting or heinous that I couldn't read it in front of others, I think that should be a part of that review process also.
So,
and I know we're kind of going into the old business
Right.
too, but
The only thing I would say is that would require an actual bring the motion,
Right,
all that
exactly.
add in.
So we need to use this as it is.
Correct.
And then we can say, okay, I
We can go
used
refine
this
it.
as
Got
it
it.
is. This is what I found shortfall, or this is what I didn't find helpful. So it would give us a
And
review.
are we to use 3 publications too? 3 copies?
I would say that would make sense, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we need to
Where am
have
I
the same
gonna get
amount of
three?
information.
Can we get 3 copies for everybody?
Certainly.
Okay,
So
Taylor says yes.
Is the process going to be, I just want to clarify this, so we run it through the library staff first, we do the entire process. We come up with what we've got, I submit a decision on this, then it gets turned over to you all?
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
And
when you
we're during that time going to do the same thing with the draft that we have.
You're talking concurrent.
You're
Right,
saying con- okay.
concurrent.
You're talking.
Yes.
I wasn't talking concurrent.
No, concurrent. I think it would be better to be concurrent than
Can
when
we
you
do
give
that?
us something.
We can, but that is not following the process, but we
Right.
can.
Well, I mean,
We're just jumping ahead. in
For the
our-
sake of time.
Yeah.
We're doing our homework early.
yeah. I mean, Mr. Reagan actually read a book ahead of time to get an idea of where we were going. And in the last, I don't think there's anything, I understand what you're saying as far as the process is concerned. But I think it makes sense for us to have the knowledge and, you know.
I'm
and then,
okay with that.
Opportunity.
Going on what Mr. Campbell said, I would say that for this time frame, this point, it says, did you have any concerns with this material? That would be where you could put that in at that moment.
Okay,
Okay.
and then, and like,
And-
like we said, if we need to refine it on the next meeting, we can refine things since it's still in draft.
May I kind of address that? I did pick up a copy and I reviewed it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yesterday. I don't think there's a concern that you have. It's little tiny reviews of books, so there's no salacious material in the review.
Right.
Now, the book may be, I don't know, but what's
What
in
we
the
are.
magazine shouldn't be a problem.
Well, and I understand. I was saying that just as an additional question through the review process, even if, so like if we are reviewing an actual book, it's just added into that language to something that we can
That's what we have to,
we're investigating.
that's what we have to come back with in October.
So,
Okay.
just for clarification,
No.
all of that will be weeded out in doing all
Yeah.
this. So, you know, and I see the hands. I apologize. We're not gonna open back up for.
Mr. Chairman.
I-
That's off leaving.
Yep.
You voted to table it.
We did not vote to table it. That's not true. So, anyways, point being, I think we got this meeting, you know, I think we can handle it. The point is that we have a draft. This draft has already been made public knowledge, right?
Yes.
Everybody's already seen it.
Yes.
They've had times to comment. Everything's been done, okay? We're not gonna go use something in the interim concurrently that has not been seen publicly,
Correct.
okay?
Yep.
So that's what we're doing. We're saving, you know, so to speak, in that. That being said, we can do a review. A review has been in the policy and procedure forever, so nothing's changing. We'll do a review. We'll come back with our review. Library staff will come back with their review. We'll communicate that by email, public, okay, on this particular topic. All right, then we'll come back in October. We'll present the information. Then we'll come back on the item that we did table and we'll discuss. And we also will have knowledge and information to say as to whether this draft worked or not.
Correct.
Does that make sense?
And if we need to refine it after that, we can refine it or add
Correct.
to the
As
language.
part of the process.
Exactly. So, just for clarification for everybody's concern, we're not using anything that has not been presented publicly.
Correct.
Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So that wasn't a motion, that was just discussion. So let's go
Correct.
back to where we were. All right, I think we're on the adjourn part, if I recall.
Yes.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
And a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? I didn't think so. Let's go.